Hello, hello. Hey, Aaron Murray. Howdy, everybody. So I'm going to explain the title, which is upcoming stream hiatus. And it's kind of the today command here. I'll be taking an indefinite stream break while I focus on important launch tasks that aren't suitable for the stream. I may be back here and there for some development tasks. Please consider joining Discord. This or the Skeleseller specific one. All right, hopefully this all fits. How long is this? 4:41, yeah. He's abandoning us. Hey, Chef Alternate Kevin. I kind of am abandoning everybody, at least for a bit. I just don't really see how this would be feasible to do on stream. And the other thing that's been happening... Oh, nice. Yeah, better use this while you can, indeed. I guess that's going to delete everyone's stream streaks, huh? Or maybe not. I don't know how that works. But yeah, so the way that we've been doing this is it's been development, and then I was supposed to be taking like Tuesdays and Thursday afternoons and doing other stuff. But I've been kind of burned out lately, and I don't think the stream is helping. And that's not to say I don't think the stream helped to this point. I think it helped greatly to this point. But now we're in a special circumstance. So days until launch, 64. I don't think I'm going to go 64 days without anyone hearing from me. I think it's going to be more like a couple weeks, maybe. I don't know. I'll probably do some check-ins here and there. But yeah, I just want to play it by ear. So sustainability, I think this finally started suffering last week. I haven't been very productive in the afternoons off. And I took Thursday. Didn't I not even stream Friday afternoon? Yeah, I didn't. Whew. Thursday off entirely. I think I need some off stream time. So that kind of raises the question, like, what are we doing today? I think this part is going fine. I'm still doing the most important stuff, and taking a stream break is essentially proof of that. Hey, JD. How do you navigate between apps? So if you take a look at this, you'll find Hammer Spoon in there. And that's what I use for switching between applications. Love when people say raises the question. Well, yeah, begs the question is what some people say without realizing it means something other than what they intended to mean. They tend to mean raises the question. But it's essentially like anyway, there's a whole Wikipedia article on it. I'm trying to think about what I was originally talking about, which is, I don't know what's happening today. I think there are still some tasks we can do. But in general, like, marketing is probably the most important thing. And then some of this stuff, I could probably figure out a way to do it. Like, there are controller issues on Linux, and just kind of controller issues in general. Like, remapping is really difficult. And at least the ones on Linux, I'm not totally sure how to stream. Like, I have a Chromebook, but I think I'd have to remote into it or something. Like, I'm not going to change my stream setup to be on Linux. So, like, how do I cast a Linux computer? And maybe there's a way. It's just not really worth it. Hey, Matt. And hey, Charlie. So, yeah, let's see what we actually can work on. I think bone mode is something we can do. But yeah, I even had this written last week. Consider cutting out afternoon streams for a month. See if the mornings are even helpful. Or see if I can do what I want to do off stream, on the stream. Yeah. The other thing I've been thinking about, I found out that there is a traffic report that breaks down where your traffic's coming from on Steam. So if you take a look at this wish list graph, it like shot up and then shot right back down. And I was trying to figure out like, why did this rise so much? And I found the traffic sources, and it wasn't anything very revealing. So like 20% of the traffic was direct traffic. So it's coming from someone just clicking a link, let's say from Discord. So there's no refer. So you can't tell where people are sharing it. Like, is it in a specific Discord? Is it in a specific Twitch channel or something like that? And some browsers do things where they mask refer links anyway. And then there was something else that was just listed as other. I don't know what that was about. It doesn't give you any details. It just says other pages. And that was another like 20% of the traffic. So here's my new theory. The new theory is marketing efforts I do now will be amplified by Valve. And I want to test this. And that's part of the reason why I think taking some time off stream is good. How annoying. All right, take care, Kevin. Hope you have a good transition back into work. So I want to test that theory because this roughly coincided with, wait, January 2nd. That's when, is that when Fizzgate did their video? Not exactly. I guess it started before that because this was January 6th. So this just picked up on its own. So I guess that theory doesn't really hold any weight. Like, yeah, I don't know why this happened. And it'd be nice if I could find like anything online. You know, if I search for Skeleseller and I just click last month, nothing unusual shows up here. It's like the Steam page, YouTube, incremental DB. Yeah, there's no like, there was a post by someone in the press or some, yeah, I don't know. There's nothing unusual here. Kind of marketing am I looking to do? A lot of still influencer outreach. Influencer outreach is generally free. I mean, some influencers will want money, but page one, there was a video made 4 days ago. Yeah, that was a short that got like 70 something views. But that was still 4 days ago. I was trying to find out what happened like 10 days ago that might have kicked this stuff off. So yeah, I think you're talking about one of these things. Yeah, there's not much that's on. And this is my own video, by the way. My own videos don't really count. Scroll down last. Are you talking about my video? My videos have always been a thing though. Like it's not like any of these got a ton of traction or anything. What I was trying to say is if you look at the graph, which I just closed, there was, I think January 2nd is when things started picking up. And then they died down after about a week. So I don't know why January 2nd is now 10 days ago. So if we saw something from like 10 days ago or 11 days ago, like there was a, I don't know, some, you know, The Verge picked it up or something like that, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's what happened. And then if it died down, it'd be like, okay, it fell off their front page. But yeah, I don't have any explanation for why we got a lot more traffic and then it stopped. And there's no apparent, there's no apparent source. I'm sure there is a source. I just don't know what it was. And a lot of it came from search results, but like, why would search results have increased for 1 week? When there's a Steam sale, maybe it shifted your game into focus. There probably was a Steam sale, but it's very unlikely it would have shifted my game into focus because it's not for sale yet. The Steam sales generally don't push demos in upcoming games. They generally push games that can make them money now. Could just be that people wishlist things more right after New Year's. It could be, yeah. It definitely could be just some emergent user behavior. It's a very sour and hey, Mr. D-Boy. There's no hiatus thing, but the today command talks about it. I'll stream this morning and I'll find something to do here. We'll probably work on bone mode. But then, yeah, I think I just need to spend some time doing marketing stuff. By the way, I'm not like super bummed about this or anything. I don't know how austere I sound, but I think this is just what's necessary to keep moving forward. And it just kind of sucks because the stream is like people subscribed and you've worked me into your routine or your schedule. And I don't take that for granted, but I also want to make sure that the game is successful. All right, so add difficulties in some content. Consider a challenge gives you item stacking. Maybe all of them after level 10 should do this, or tone down the number of items you get from later instances. There's been a lot of like lack of balance that I need to go take a look at. Hey, Goose. Sometimes you got to do business stuff when doing business. True dat. Check out dash B. Finish bone mode. Maybe finish is a bit ambitious. So this is not something I want to check in. I was testing out a German name that we had here. And yeah, this is like, make sure German spirit caller has space. What is the word for this? Spirit caller? I'm not going to try to pronounce this at all. Wait, this isn't even correct, is it? Oh, man. There's a glossary term, and then there's this. Yeah, it's this thing. Ah, this doesn't match. We got to make sure these things match. All right, I'll make a note about this. Glossary matches the display name for spirit caller in German. So hard. Well, the other thing is like I just type git checkout and it's like I press right and then it just corrects it for me. So I feel like it doesn't make too much of a difference unless there's a functional difference. All right, so this is pretty minor. Let's go take a look at what we've even got in bone mode. I should probably like play a scenario or two and find out what's going on with this, because I haven't touched this in a while and I don't know how hard it is to handle all the items that you get now. Oh, that's loud. Hey, Phil. All right, so we've got a whole bunch of, yeah, we got everything unlocked and I have a bunch of upgrade points, which are probably cheated in. So let's just start with some stuff. Oh man, we can afford quite a lot, huh? Okay, there. So we started with practically everything. And I'm going to do... Yeah, let's do this. And let's just see how this goes. Do I have an 11th one? No, I don't. Interesting. It's clearly copy-pasted. And then there's some like weird challenges that happen afterward. Stream hiatus. Yeah, I've got more information in the stay command there. Hey, Dad walking. Oh, that's a problem. It just made a bunch of building sounds. And it even broke something here. Wow. Well, that's an issue. I see. Okay, well, I'm glad we're taking a look at this. Because I wonder if this is... Oh, man, this is probably like thoroughly broken. At least it seems to have put us in the game. But there are some problems here. So let's do that. Where's the today that we want to be on? Monday. Here we go. There are issues even entering bone mode. And the later scenarios cause an exception. I see, Matt. Yeah. All right, so difficulty data. Line 25. So this would suggest that there are no constraints for some of these difficulty levels. But all of them have constraints, even if it's just placeholder. Huh. I wonder why. New challenge run screen, line 156. All right, well, let's put a breakpoint here. Let's go back to the title screen. So it gets hit immediately and there's no problem. Is there anything else that's going on here? No, it's all just that. Yeah, I think this is maybe the only issue. And I think it's only when you unlock enough of these things. So if I keep clicking, we'll eventually find one of these that breaks. I'm guessing it's going to be number 11 or number 12. So far, so good. Yeah, here's the problem. So why is this going on? Because we don't have difficulty data? Hold on, let me click that again. Difficulty data. It exists. There's one constraint. Huh. Maybe it doesn't have a description associated with it? That's entirely possible. Yeah, I think that's what's going on. Yep. There's no constraint that corresponds to this. Huh. Okay. Well, we used it in, what, 2 places? I guess unspecial was supposed to be something that was, hey, there's that you don't start with anything anymore, which I'm not even sure is very fun. So we probably should just get rid of that. Yeah, I'm gonna delete it. So if there are no constraints, I wonder I guess we should just put the placeholder in, huh? All right, so now there shouldn't be any problems with this. This is but a piece of the puzzle. The more important thing here is that, oh wait, what's that? Oh, that's the name of the scenario. I don't know if I like that, because that means that people must have translated it. And that I'm probably going to need to put other challenges in here. Okay. Well, yeah, I think we're going to do that. So the final 10 scenarios should probably be challenge 1 to 10 and should pose certain restrictions. I'm not sure that they'll be different enough. Hey, Rixa, good morning. All right, so just make a new game. Let's try this again. I'm gonna click this, click a bunch of these. Because at some point you're gonna have unlocked pretty much everything here. Maybe I should make this stuff even cost more. All right, so now no exceptions? Yeah, no exception. Oh yeah, that's right, the building sounds. Ugh. Alright, so building sounds play when entering phone mode. You need to figure out why. Shouldn't be that hard to figure out. But we're not going to do that just yet. I want to actually, like, play a little bit. So let's send some characters in there and in there. And I think they should be able to win. And then we start with some money. Let's build the farm. Man, it's been a long time since I played Bone Mode. Yeah. Alright, these characters are struggling. Oh, man. I don't think they're going to win. No, I don't think so. It's so close, too. They were one hit away from winning. Alright, we'll just go back to the forest, I guess. Yeah, well, they're definitely going to win this stuff now. So I guess we could hire another adventurer. And then they'll definitely win in here. Let's get a town perk. That's pretty good. I like the idea of bone mode still. Yo, Madamo, just started watching Twitch again. Yeah, I've got some more information here. I feel bad about it, but I think it's what's best for the game, and I think I need to consider that pretty strongly right now. Oh, right, you start with the quick move menu too. Yeah, so I think once you've gotten to this point, we've got to count on you having a bunch of these perks. I'm not certain though challenge or like bone mode would be fun for the final 10 challenges. It just seems like quite a lot. All right, let's go build something. Oh, we have the fishing pond. Now we have everything. All right. So let's get another adventurer and send him into the fishing pond. Getting a lot of sales. Doesn't really feel like I have to do very much. That lagged. Oh, strange. Hey, Jordan. Yeah, you've been following since 2019. Hey, Oberon. All right, I can just drag these to the... That's really nice. It's especially nice in this mode. Wow. Cool. All right, treasure chest starting with more items. Oh, yeah, we just start with these things enabled. Man, no, it's a lot easier. All right, let's get some more perks. Sure. Wow, all this stuff's pretty good. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, yeah. I was gonna say, I think we have a 33% chance for those to go to the guild already. Wow, this is pretty neat. It's been a long time since I've played this mode. And we really got to balance it at some point. Hey, nice. Look at how my little skeletons go. Oh, they're putting all their stuff there because of that. Hey, I'm on Terra. The game is online. The demo is online. The demo's been online for about a year, but the game is not launched yet. The launch will be on March 17th. I am testing some things now with a particular mode in the game. And yeah, I kind of want to see once we get to the later section. Ooh, nice. Power level of the warrior. Yeah, once we get to the later levels in the game, how many items do we get? Are we able to handle them? Is there a reason to even fight bosses? Like, can I send my strongest party in here? I guess get rid of you. And then send anyone else to the fishing pond? Rogue fishing pond. Alright, we need items. Oh, wow. And all this stuff's pretty good. Let's get that. Let's also get that. I do like this mode. I think it's fun. I hope other people like it. Hey, DJ. And hey, Dake. Welcome in. Hope you're having a good start to your week. Oh, that's really good. It's fun to just watch this stuff play out. I'm not even trying to win. Yeah, so I wonder if we were like, okay, you can start with item stacking. Maybe that's even a perk that costs a bunch. Maybe item stacking is an upgrade or a meta perk that just costs a ton. I'm not sure. I think if you unlock it during the game, that it wouldn't be as interesting. So we should probably just count on you having it. I wonder if you can press enter on this. I should make sure that you can. You can't. Okay, I'll write that down too. The confirm button, enter, should work to buy a perk when in one of those tabs that you don't need to move the mouse. Game is stunning. Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy with how it's turned out. Oh, whoop! I definitely wanted auto fishing. All right, well, it's too late for that. Yeah, I'm happy with how it's turning out. I am hoping people like it and want to spend money on it. What is our amount of time we're supposed to have? 27 minutes? That seems like a very high amount of time. Then again, I do have tons and tons of perks that I probably shouldn't have. We started with practically everything already built. So we can now just spend money over here. Yeah, I wonder if town perks should just always cost more. Maybe they have stacking constraints. Town perks should probably cost more if you start with tons of buildings and adventurers. I think this will require some design. Yeah, I haven't actually made it too far in this yet. Yeah, so let's keep going for a bit. Well, that's pretty interesting, but that's more interesting. That's incredibly good. All right, so let's send these off to somewhere else. I don't know, here. And let's send these off to the next one. Oh, you can't even fight bosses? Or is it just because I had too many? Yeah, I had too many. Okay, I was gonna say, if we broke that, that would be a big problem. All right, you want a dagger. That is such a good feature. Just being able to drag these onto a character to give them what they want. Like, I don't have any bows, but if I did, that adventurer wouldn't need to walk all the way across town. All right, let's turn this on. Ooh, it's pretty good. It's also pretty good. So my character's barely won that? Wow. Fish give gold, buying guild supplies. This is probably not the best move. Let's get this quest. They're like barely hanging on over there. Oh, hey, you want a yellow potion? Gotcha. And you want a regular bow. Let's go get you a regular bow. Hey, single dev. Cool if you documented some of what goes on to maybe release or share later. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I plan on doing that sort of thing. And I wanted to make content on YouTube. In fact, that might be how this changes. Maybe instead of streaming on Twitch, I'll make some content for YouTube. Because on Twitch, I get maybe like 1,000 views per day. And those views, at the end of the day, that's pretty much all that they're ever going to get. Whereas on YouTube, if a video takes off, it will reach a much larger audience, I think. And that'll help the game even more. Yes, I feel like we'd just be toning a lot of this stuff down. This is pretty good. Man, this is a pretty fun mode. I do like it. I think there's a lot going on. More like a hiatus. Maybe. Alright, so I think we need some boots now. Where do we find those? Deep forest and volcano. Why are we not getting boots then? Oh, there's one. We're practically filling the warehouse now. Which would suggest we need more workers. What is going on here? I guess I should hire some adventurers. Hey, Luke. Let's go with this. Video player on Twitch is not good. On YouTube, I can watch long form content, but I can't on Twitch. I think the video player on YouTube is better, but that's not exactly what I'm talking about. I don't think it's so much the experience as what people expect. I think you go to Twitch to watch live streams. So if the person's not live, you're probably not going to watch them. But you go to YouTube to watch mostly recorded videos. And actually, live streams don't tend to do as well, I'd say. Oh, it's not like they do poorly sometimes. But yeah, it's just the expectations of the audiences that are there. All right, so what is going on here? We have like way too many items, which probably means I should be fighting in later locations and actually paying attention to what's going on. I need more boots as well. There. And now we need one more. Oh, no, we got it. Yeah, so we can start putting these in. I guess I'm not really manually managing stuff, and that's why this is... everything's grinding to a halt. Huh. What's this cool looking game you're playing? We're testing out bone mode for now. I wanted to see how many items do you get toward the end of this, but I'm not really playing it correctly. Like, I'm kind of just watching stuff happen and not contributing a lot myself. Huh. All right, so having them fish is not the greatest thing. Let's put them into here. And then let's see if they can handle the next place. I kind of doubt it. I was told to come and check out your game, and there's a lot going on. Assume this is mid to late game. Yeah, this is actually after you've beaten story mode. So the way the game works is you play through story mode, and it kind of teaches you how this mode will work. And then this is a roguelite mode. Sounds like an idle game. Well, kind of, yeah. Also, you said I was told to come and check out your game. Who mentioned this to you to check out the game? Because I am trying to find out more about this leading up to launch. All right, so there's some little usability things that I want to fix here. I think they should be pretty easy to fix, though. They're losing that battle. Let's go with that. Oh, man. That stuff's really good. Love it. Love it. Love it. I wonder if we should allow for a higher level of cloning. So are they just all dying? Yeah. Well, no. Actually, they might win. Yeah, they won. Okay, cool. Oh, Oberon told you to come. Okay, well, cool. And yeah, thank you, Oberon. Can you please line up your battle screens? There. It's perfect now. What do I need over here? Demon helmets and stuff? I guess I'll have them go fight over there. Although maybe these guys can do it. Yeah, they should maybe be able to do it. You made it better? Better, you said? All right, so this should auto fish. Nice. And it's every 22 seconds now. Yeah, I'm very torn on what to do for the last 10 challenges. I do need to think about the design a bit. The white background on some of the UI is bright. Like this, you mean? I think the whole game is pretty bright, such that this is still fitting. Like, it doesn't stand out to me as being a problem. It's not like the rest of the entire game's in dark mode, and then you click this and your eyes get blinded. How much do these cost? 50? 50? Are you kidding me? That's so cheap. I'm not even paying attention to these battles. Are they winning? Yes, they are. Okay, so let's just dump a bunch of these things in here. Let it figure those out. Although I probably shouldn't have done that. I want the shields to go into... Nope, nope, not there. There. Yeah. And then we gotta open specific ones because we have free treasure chests. I need armor. Nice. Okay, who wants stuff? You want boots. I don't think we get boots. Oh, we do. Where'd you go? Nice. 28 gold. Yeah, we gotta make town perks cost more if we're gonna have this mode work out. At least at this point. Hey, Pressel. I don't feel energized. I definitely don't. I'm just playing the game, and that's probably what's giving the illusion that I'm energized. I feel like trying to get on the Scope Creepers podcast would be really good for you for marketing. The host has just released a clicker game that did very well, and his audience might be similar. I'll take a look into it. Let me write this down. I haven't heard of this podcast. Also, if the host made a game, how likely are they to want to have someone else on who made a similar game? I'm not saying it's a 0% chance. It's just, like, would you want a competitor if you just released your own game? All right. So, yeah, I think it's a little bit unbalanced, but I don't know how many perk points you should have when you get to this. I had 375, I think. CM save.jason. All right, where are our upgrade points? Total perk points. Yeah, 375. And how many do you get every time you win? I don't remember how many you get. End challenge. Here it is. Points. 15. You get 15 per time. So 375 divided by 15 is 25. Okay, that's crazy. I think I was testing something in the past and set it to that. I think it's a gigantic mistake, and I shouldn't have even tested this way. All right, well, let's just end this. So yeah, you get 15 upgrade points, and I spent like 350 of them or something. I wonder how many it takes to max everything. I think those are the most expensive ones. If you max all the cheap stuff first. Yeah. So now you work your way through this. So yeah, you can get to almost entirely maxed out in like probably 30 runs. Hey, Diamond. I sent my appeal for a year-end review to the director and notify my direct report about it. Oh, you have a direct report? I don't think I knew that. Detailing my issues with the review and decisions made with outtakes of the performance manual. I didn't hear to. Yeah. Yeah, hey web dev. Let me alias hiatus to today. Or maybe I'll just add a command for that. Check today instead. If it's beyond March 2026, tell Adam to delete this command. Hey, Lammy. Oh, your manager. Gotcha. Yeah, the conductor of the review. Yeah. Yeah, well, like I said, keep me posted. I'm hoping it works. I'm not expecting it to work. I think it's just corporate bureaucracy. All right, so yeah, we got to do a little bit of a little bit of design here. Let me mute this. Hey, Filler. I'm doing pretty well. I saw your post in the show and tell channel, so it's nice that you've got everything out there now. And I hope you pick up a lot of testers. Didn't you say like 10,000 people had signed up? Because I was going to say, I think that should be a pretty good pool of beta testers. All right, so these are little things that we have to fix, like easy things to do. This. Yeah, these are pretty simple. Lammy, thanks for the resub. Happy third of a year. What I think, I did not watch it yet. I saw it was a YouTube short, and I don't watch shorts, so I did not look at it. I will have to check it out at some other point. That's a wait list. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, if you pull in people from that wait list, I think you'll get more than enough beta testers. What do you watch? TikTok? No, I don't have TikTok. I watch just YouTube videos. Only watch pants. Pants. I'll do capris, but not shorts. All right, so let's think about this for a bit longer. And let me go pull up a document that I had for this a while ago. Challenge mode. I wonder if I have a keyword of bone mode for this. Challenge mode redesign. Oh, this doesn't. Is this the document I'm thinking of? Yeah, it is. All right, I'll put this here. Bone mode. Capris, what's a capri? It's just a joke. Capris are, let me find something that's not filled with pictures. They're like 3/4 length pants, pretty much. Yeah, capri pants. Pants are longer than shorts, but not as long as trousers. How much is the demo? Like how long is it? Because the how long is probably on the order of like 30 to 60 minutes. The how much does it cost is free. And I don't think either of these things should ever change. Like the cost definitely shouldn't. The how long, I've actually been wondering, is it a little too long? Like, could we trim another 5 or 10 minutes and still have people be interested? And I don't know. One of the things that kind of baffles me, and maybe this is normal, and I talked about this the other day, but we've had like 9,000 people play the game and we have 63 reviews. So the number of like reviews, the number of people it takes to get another review is like another 143 people. Wait, did I do that right? I probably didn't do that right. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's lower than I expected to be. And part of me wonders, does that mean that is something wrong? Or is it healthy and people just aren't leaving reviews because they don't feel like strongly one way or the other? Crows, thanks for the resub. Happy 30 months. That's 2.5 years. And does EJ still drop by? Very occasionally, yeah. Okay, good, Phil. Yeah. And hey, EJ. Hey, he's here. It's very occasional. I had around 600 players and 6 reviews, so it's not far off. Yeah, it's not too far off. I feel like I should have at least like 90 reviews or something then. For you will play and oh, you don't have to. I'm not even totally sure how it helps. Like I think it probably helps, but it's just the demo at least. For the full game, reviewing definitely helps, but the full game's not out yet. So yeah, I don't necessarily mind if people don't really review the demo. Plus, the next threshold, a lot of you have probably seen overwhelmingly positive games on Steam, but you might not know how you get them. The way you get them is you have a minimum of 500 reviews and a certain score. It's like 90% or 95% positive. Up until then, if you have 499 reviews and every single one is positive, it'll be listed as very positive. You need to get a certain volume to hit overwhelmingly positive, which is like a big mark of approval by your audience and your player base. So for the launch, getting to 500 reviews is pretty important. I mean, obviously having them be positive is probably maybe even more important, but that's a combination of the two things that'll matter. Hey, Andy. Reddit probably 90% lurkers. Yeah, it's probably normal. I probably shouldn't worry about it. It's just a little strange when there's an influx of players and I guess, yeah, it's just a chance that it happens. You focus on getting people to share the game somehow. I don't think reviews matter that much. People play the game for 30 plus minutes. People share the game with others. Yeah, the issue with, I think, sharing in this game is that there's no incentive that I can really give. I would need to like bake that in on my own. So I need some server that gets pinged and then like a referral code or something, and then I give you something in the game. But even the something in the game would probably just be cosmetic. I mean, I know you were talking about hats in the farming game, but in Skeleseller, if I gave you something functional, I think it would actually decrease your enjoyment of the game. So yeah, I think it need to be something cosmetic. And even then, it's like, how do I... Yeah, I guess I just need to make a referral code system or something. Because I can't tell, like, I don't control Steam. So I can't know that you shared a link with somebody and they clicked it. Or, well, I probably kind of could, but it'd be like a ton of work. Tavern Keeper did the cosmetic approach. Yeah, but I'll copy this down because, yeah, I think this is the kind of thing I do need to be considering a little bit more. This could at least be coded on stream. Give them a Steve achievement for a comment. Engagement through the roof. Probably illegal. You can't even detect that. Like, there's no way for you to know that someone left a comment. I guess, well, again, I guess you kind of could, right? You could, like, scrape the Steam comments or reviews and then, like, find their Steam ID. And then in the game client, like, tell the game server, which we don't even have, but tell a game server that this person logged in. And then if they're in the database of commenters, give them an achievement. So I guess it's technically possible, but this is something I like 100% sure, surely do not want to do. Yeah. Yeah, I like bunnies. I don't think they allow incentivizing reviews anyway. Yeah. So I don't plan on doing that. The incentivizing sharing the game is maybe okay. I'll have to look into this stuff. Measure how long people play, and if they play for over 3, 15, or 30 minutes, ask for a review. Enjoying the game, leave us a review. I feel like this is kind of like mobile territory. I put this in quotes because it's done more frequently there. I don't see Steam games doing this pretty much ever. At least not reputable ones. I can't remember the last time. Unless it's a demo. Demos are a little bit different. I think demos, it's okay to pander a little bit and be like, oh, hey, go to the Steam store or buy this or wishlist this or something. I've seen it for demos, but I haven't seen it for full games. And that's not to say that nothing does it, but it's probably just not as common. Hey, Snowies. And hey, Couch. If a game I bought asked me for a review in game, I'd probably uninstall. Yeah. Yeah, I think it would cheapen the game for me for sure. And since mobile games already feel cheap to me, then it wouldn't necessarily make it worse. I'd just be like, well, that's mobile. All right, anyway, so I wanted to figure out where we're going with this. And I guess let's make a new scratch section here. So the final 10 challenges, or final 10 scenarios, not necessarily challenges. Did I write anything else in here? Maybe they make its own container. Tooltips need to change. Oh yeah, whoops. Question about the depth. Does everybody go deep in the map? Stuff for later. Figure out if we want to do this. Yeah. Delete constraints that aren't being used. I gotta finish this stuff up. Delete the negative twists or convert them into challenges. We gotta have dud perks. we just have to have them. All right, so let's go back to this. And yeah, let's talk about this a little bit more. So this is the date today. I'm finally getting back to this. I'd like to have 10 more scenarios, but I only want to do this if I think they're going to be fun. I need to design how this will work exactly. Also, did the number 20 show up somewhere? There are 20 challenges, yeah. But that's it. That's the only place I think this shows up. Unless maybe when you beat a challenge, it tells you. No. It doesn't. What happens when you beat the final one? I haven't beaten it for the first time there, but I guess it gives you an achievement. Oh yeah, that's true. I gotta write that down too, huh? How can I ask for reviews, shares in a tasteful way, and see where that leads you? Yeah, the reviews thing I think is kind of off limits, or rather, I guess I could do it on like Twitch or Discord, but that's mostly with people I, quote unquote, know. Like if I ask the people who are in this channel already, hey, I'd like you to review the game on launch, I think that's more amenable. And I think it's because it's like, I'm not really pandering, I've worked on the game for a long time. But I think if they were random people, I think it'd be tough. And like I said, I just don't see it in other Steam games. I don't think it's a strategy that doesn't work. I think in an algorithmically driven world, it's actually working more than it probably used to. But I don't think that's sufficient. I think there are some other things you probably have to consider. But as an example, like if you make a YouTube video and you're a total unknown person and people start liking your video, YouTube will push it to more people. So it's like, in that case, it's, yeah, prime the pump a little bit, but it's not like you need $1 million marketing budget to get a video with a lot of views. And I think it's kind of similar on Steam. It's like, if you make a good game and everyone's playing it and everyone's sharing it naturally, then yeah, you don't really even probably need to do any marketing on your own. Hey, Magnetic Mind. I'm tired of the dev and corporate grind. Is it a good idea to quit now? This is a multifaceted question because even if I said yes, it's like your finances might say no. So let's say you have zero in savings. It's like quitting your job is probably not a good idea. But then let's say you live in a country where they give you grants or something based on doing whatever, game dev. Then like, okay, maybe it is a good idea. So in general, I think if you're tired of the grind, it's time to figure out a new plan. And the plan might be quitting, but it's not necessarily quitting. So yeah, stuff for later. If we don't end up with 20 scenarios, we may need to change some strings. There's an achievement for beating the 20th scenario. And there may be some translated strings that involve the number 20. What is going on right now? That's weird. Yeah, okay. All right, so yeah, back to the design. Images and having them as a cheap way to at least get more playtime, even if it results in a drop in power. I think having more unlockable perks to offset this by still adding cool things to the game. Yeah, interesting. So here's the issue I ran into originally. We have like a high level set of options here. Option 1 is each challenge is standalone. And we could say like challenges build on prior ones. And I guess we start with like the final scenarios are intended to be hard. I mean, nothing's really difficult in Skelliseller. Or the final scenarios are still intended to be fun, like wacky ways to break the game. So way back when, for those of you who played Slay the Spire has an ascension system, and each level, and I don't know what the exact levels are, but imagine something like this, like plus 10% enemy health. Like if you can beat it on level 0 is no changes. So if you can beat it on level 0, adding 10% to enemy health for practically any game is not going to like break your experience, right? But then every level thereafter starts stacking challenges on top. So maybe it's like plus 10% enemy power. And again, if it were just this, it's like, yeah, that's not that bad. But now it's 10% enemy health and 10% enemy power. And then you eventually get to level 20, and it's like, okay, now you have 19 difficulty modifiers. And yeah, any 1 or 5 or 10 of those might not be hard, but you got 19 of them or 20 of them or however it works. So that was the original thing that we did with Bone Mode. I was like, okay, it's just going to be stacking modifiers, right? So it's like, oh, this costs more, and then fewer customers join your town, and loot sells for less, and it wasn't really very fun. And I want to look at why we canned that, because what I'm kind of wondering is what we ended up with now. So in bone mode, we have like level 1 is like a fun way of playing, and then level 2 is just a different fun way of playing, and so on and so forth, all the way up to level maybe 9 or 10. So now 10 to 20, what do we do? And I think it's like, well, if these were all focused on fun, probably if you played 10 of those scenarios, you're like, well, I did this because I wanted to have fun. So if we all of a sudden change it to like, well, now we want it to be hard, I don't know if that would still be enjoyable for people. So maybe we do start coming up with other ways, but I coded a bunch of like difficulty modifiers that are currently not used in the game. And I wonder if we start slowly introducing those. Yeah, let me go back to my old notes on this, because I had this written down. I think, without going back to the notes yet, I think that the reasons why I canned the Ascension system were it was very jarring compared to story mode. But the mitigation for this is we now have 10 easy scenarios. So it'd be, well, yeah, less jarring. And I think that was the biggest reason, actually. It's just like story mode was just meant to be fun. And now here is a mode that we're like, no, you're not going to have fun anymore. No fun allowed. So where did I write this down? Rebranding? Starting over? Original plan was to do the Slay the Spider. Yeah, so I'm glad I wrote notes about this stuff, because, yeah, I'm curious what I was thinking, and now I can find out what I was thinking. We then added specializations, maybe wonder if there should be difficulty modifiers for each. If there are, blah, blah, blah. Still torn on this. Think slowly adding difficulty isn't necessarily the most fun way of playing the game. Coming back to this, I like the idea that we had a long time ago where it would be about positive and negative modifiers you could apply. Oh, is this where we jumped into the whole, like, you can add positives and negatives? What we do for each level. Okay, that is kind of interesting. I didn't think about this. There is another high level thing that had not struck me, which is a sandbox mode. Let me write that down here. Sandbox mode. Let players apply positives and negatives as they wish. Interesting. Fun is overrated. Just call it no fun allowed. Set expectation. Meet them. Job done. So the some of the things that we had done, I added this thing like dud perks. And the way that this works is normally when you're playing, so like let's say we click back to here. Normally when you're playing and you click town perks, there's just all positive stuff. What this did is it made it so that 5 dud perks could appear. So you might show stronger hires and maybe something else, and like dud perk number 1. And you could choose dud perk number 1, and eventually you'll max it out and it'll never show up again. But if you don't choose it, then it's like, well, now you only have 2 other choices. And maybe you re-roll and you get only dud choices. So it's like a little twist in how you play. And I think it's okay to add these in once you have enough money to overcome them. Because in general, if you think about it, it's like by polluting the pool, you're probably making it so that everything costs a little bit more, essentially. When you're about to sign something scary. So I'm probably very different about how I handle contracts from a lot of people. And in fact, I'm going through this right now in real life, and it's causing a lot of stress, which is that someone sent a contract that I think is basically unenforceable. Like, imagine if it had to do with game dev. It's not game dev, but imagine if it had to do with game dev and they were saying something like, we'll make the game for you. And also you verify that we're coding everything correctly and we don't share our code. So it's like, you literally cannot verify this thing. They say right in the contract, like, we're not going to share our code. How would you verify this? This is a contrived example. So like, yeah, just imagine someone sent me an impossible contract, basically. Those things are kind of scary to me only because I feel like most people just don't read contracts and they just sign them. And the people writing the contracts are not lawyers and they probably don't want to go contact their lawyer to figure out how to change these things. So basically, I'm probably just not going to do business with this company that I'm talking about, which again, I've contrived an example for. But yeah, in real life right now, there's someone that they wrote a contract where I just feel like there's just no way I can sign this. And ideally, the way it would work in the real world is they go amend it and then we come to agreeable terms. But I don't think it's going to happen. Just a very challenge motivated player. So first of all, I don't like blame anyone for this. And I certainly did not have this in my head as you're the person who steered me in this direction. I think it made sense for this game. And then we tried it and I think it didn't make sense. And now I'm just trying to remember like, what did I do wrong? Or what did we learn from this? And I am kind of leaning toward the sandbox thing. But I think this is like a big feature addition because I don't have a way of you opting into a bunch of like negative modifiers. And I don't think we got icons for any of those, did we? We got an icon for dud perks, but not for something like farm stuff costs more. What were all the constraints? Where are the constraints? Challenge mode constraint. Here. Cannot build pawns. Yeah, we did not get icons for these things. And I don't want to add in like 14 icons for the game. I almost wonder if the way maybe they're random. I think that'd be a lot to learn. A lot to understand as you begin your run. Yeah, that's the other problem here too, right? You had chaos mode and folks didn't really like it. I think that was one specialization that existed. And it's still kind of sort of technically in the game. Both use lawyers on this one, but I've been there. I do feel like every negotiation starts off with just asking. Yeah. So I've written a bunch of custom contracts and I guess it's just with different people. They're not like mega companies. But yeah, most people don't have any amendments they want to make. And most of the time, it just never matters, right? I think this is one of the things that kind of bugs me about laws, taxes, any regulations is that most of the time, no one's just going to enforce it. So it's like companies know this and then they get away with stuff. And then they finally get caught and there's like a slap on the wrist fine. And it's like, if you know this, it's in your best interest to not follow any laws, regulations, or pay any taxes until you get caught if you know it's going to be less than what your profit's going to be. And yet I don't want to live my life that way. But this is what I find frustrating because, like I said, I think that's just kind of how the world works. Like you think every business you are dealing with is following regulations or paying their taxes, or like some probably are, but probably the majority aren't. If you're still drawn to the idea of dud perks, perhaps you could tone it down to dud upgrades. Well, so that was just one example. We coded a bunch of constraints and they're all roughly here. Like enemies do more damage, seeds cost more, you can't build the pond, these sorts of things. And you can't just combine all of these because you'll eventually get to a point where it's like, okay, well, you can't use the fishing pond. Like if there was you can't use the warehouse or you can't use the farm, then you wouldn't be able to play the game. But that's where I wonder, like, should we bundle 3 of these and then a different 3 of these and a different 3 of these and we call them challenges and just see where that puts you? It would get you to play the game slightly differently, but it'd be different in a negative way. And I'm not certain that the negative way is fun. Yeah. By the way, this is not necessarily me being cynical. Like I've seen this happen enough times. I guess the cynical part is extrapolating to it's the majority of the time. Yeah, that's probably fair. But yeah, I've seen it happen a bunch, and it's just disappointing when I see it. All right, I'm very torn on this. There is another option, which is we just don't do anything extra. we just end with 10 scenarios for bone mode. I think that'd be a mistake. And I think this is possibly a mistake. The other thing that's difficult about this is that some of these don't really combine all that well. Our constraints don't combine in nice ways. So for example, suppose there is cannot build the fishing pond. You can't have that in every run. Or else we just removed a game mechanic. It's okay to have it in a single run. Or even two of them, maybe. There are other... It's hard to describe what I'm even talking about here. Like less loot. That's another thing. Less loot is one that if we ever have, we probably need to have from then on. Or else it's not going to change much. And there's not too much of a way that we can steer people toward... towards something negative. It actually kind of does make me wonder if we should just randomly put in some of these. I don't know. Okay, let me go the opposite route here. What if we did this? I think the issue here is that the prior scenarios explored most of this design already. Like, we focus on each system. We give you meta perks and upgrades, unlocks, so that by the time you hit scenario 10, you've probably already like fully broken the game. How does less loot make the game more fun? Those are the constraints things. So this would be the whole, we're making the game hard. I'm trying to explore kind of all of these at once. So if we're just exploring the make things fun, then less loot probably wouldn't be there. Like right now, it's not in the game. It's just been coded, but I took it out. Like this shouldn't be manifested anywhere. Yeah, there's nowhere that we actually use this. Because that was in the old style of like the Slay the Spire thing. Almost all of these are negative, by the way. There's like one or two that I think are positive. Like Start with More Gold is positive. And then the individual challenges are usually positive. But yeah, customers don't tip. Perks cost more. Items disappear faster. Enemy stats are higher. Treasure chests cost more. Slower adventurers. Like this is all negative stuff. You're looking to create difficulty. It's better to create situations that can overwhelm the player rather than artificial limits of what they can do. Well, I'm not even certain that I'm looking to create difficulty. And hey, Codex. It's just an extension of like, the short story here is we have 10 bone mode scenarios. They're all fun in that they're only positive things. And now what is the question? So like, do we make 10 more? If so, are they still fun or are they hard? And yeah, I don't have an answer for this. My gut is steering me away from difficulty. I don't think people want that vibe when playing Skelliseller. How do players break the game in the other scenarios? I think it'd be cool to see like a sea of customers or workers. Yeah, so those are the ways that it's kind of already done. So as an example here, there's a mode called Popularity, which says start with many, many customers. And Industry, which says start with many extra workers. So we do this mode. That's how many workers we start with, to the point where you don't even really need to click anything anymore. Like if I just grant a bunch of items, well, that's a ton of items, but you can still see like, whoa, look at how much stuff is happening. Like we didn't have to click any of those and we just got a bunch of these. And then same thing with like start with 1 million customers. Where's that one? Here. So now coming over the bridge. Oh, that's a bug. Oh, that's a huge bug. Okay, I gotta fix that. But yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, what? 18? Oh, right, because it's adding on the ones that we started with. That's 21. So yeah, you start with 21 customers so that if there's like anything in a shop, it's just immediately sold. And like, I think this is pretty cool. Like I put an armor in there, it's taken immediately. I put a potion in here, taken immediately. So I think these are like fun ways of breaking the game. But I don't know what other design space I could explore there because we already have like 10 different ways of breaking it. Okay, so bug. Notifications that are made transparent need to change their mouse filter to ignore so that the use started with like 10 town perks. Notification doesn't block camera actions. Just randomize as many things as possible. Well, so this is what makes me wonder, should the final thing just be a sandbox mode? That it's kind of sort of making me lean toward that. I like the idea of a sandbox where people can set whatever parameters they want. However, we may need a bunch of like dev / artwork for it. And I don't think it's worth investing that now. Hey, Mitch. What's this hullabaloo about a hiatus? Yeah, I've got it in the today command there. Yeah, and I wonder how this would work. Like, how would we even expose a sandbox mode? Like, the simplest way would probably be you get to choose how many positive and how many negative modifiers you want, and they're just randomized. You get to choose the number of positive, and they're just randomized. But yeah, the more like kind of standard way would be let players choose specific positive and negative modifiers. So like choose which buildings you start with, choose which downsides you have. No worries, Mitch. I don't mind sharing those commands. Because there are people who would want a challenge, and then they could just choose how much of a challenge they want for this. There'd be no reason to play this other than to just have fun, I guess. I think that's another issue here. I'm almost leaning toward we just have the 10 scenarios. The challenge could just be you optimizing and getting down to lower and lower times. We could also change it so that could also add difficulty tracks for each scenario. So like popularity scenario, you start with plus 15 customers, and then difficulty level number 1, customers don't tip. Difficulty level number 2, I don't know, items sell for less. And level 3 would be something else. I don't like this either. Yeah, enemies are harder. And this is kind of what I was saying earlier, is some of these things are like, wouldn't you just expect this for practically every mode? So no more fishing in the demo? Yeah, no more fishing in the demo. I had to prune out a lot of the content because it was like a 2-hour-long demo originally. I assume a sandbox mode would be mostly UI work, right? Perk choice menu, button to summon a customer or worker, menu to grant specific items. Oh, I was picturing all that stuff would happen ahead of time, although that doesn't change, it would be UI. So like right now, you can like imagine that this is the positive side of the sandbox mode. Like, oh, I want to start with more perks. So like you click this a bunch of times, or oh, I'll right click it and remove some of these. And oh, I want to start with more workers. So we click this a bunch of times. Once the run starts, I wasn't thinking that it'd still be a sandbox. Yeah, IGB. And then we need negatives for these too. So these are upgrades. We need some tab here for like, yeah, downsides. And then, yeah, the problem with that is that we need a bunch of icons for the downside. And I don't think it's a good idea to do that now. I'm not even sure it'd be fun though. Are we brainstorming game modes? I'm just thinking about, where is it? This stuff. So like we have 10 bone mode scenarios and they're mostly positive things. So now what do we do? So it's not necessarily a new game mode. It's more just like, do we make more scenarios? Are they fun? Are they difficult? Adam only mode. All the NPCs are Adam. Just got to the part where we can fight the dragon, have to wait for the final game. Yeah. And yeah, it used to be 2 hours. And it also used to give away more of the buildings. Like there was the enchanter, the fishing pond, the weapon shop. So that the full game would have only had like one extra building. So I need there to still be more to explore. In fact, I was wondering if we should end the demo at the deep forest. But then you can't even complete the second quest. Also set up a seed system so you can put a string and load every preset setting. Yeah. This does sound like just a big new feature. Like if we were gonna do anything here, and this is probably worth saying, like if we were going to do anything, it would have to be something that we could do in about a week of dev time. I just don't have time to spare. We're like 64 days from launch, and I can't spend 20 of those making. It's 64, right? Yeah, I can't spend 20 of those making a new mode. Which is still making me lean toward, we just leave it at 10 scenarios, right? Scenario 1 is getting started. Then we have farming, adventuring, industry, pirate, popularity, carpenter, fishing, enchanting, storage enthusiast. That's technically a... No, that's, this doesn't count. I was going to say that's technically 11, but we don't... I just stopped adding them. Then I added in challenge. This is like what this could be. And this is easy enough to code. And we already have a bunch of these. The other thing we could do is a middle ground. Like, it doesn't need to be 10 new scenarios. I could add 5 challenges. So, like, scenario number 11 would be challenge 1. And scenario number 15 would be challenge 5. And they just get harder. That's all. Hey, Campbell Soup. Hey, ABC. Hey, Packer. You can change to base 5 when counting scenarios. Yeah, we could do that. We'll hit 20 immediately. Makes me really feel like I've helped along the way. Well, truly, it has helped to be streaming and to hear input from people, and even in little minor ways, like the end cutscene that we have. We originally had like the customer giving 25 gold and a 25 gold tip, and Zylotic said you should make it a 1 gold tip to make it even like a more haughty customer. Like, yeah, that's a good idea. We did that. And there are lots of like game impacting ideas that we've done too. Hey, Grace. It's going well. I am probably going to not stream for a while, and I don't know how long that while is, but it's in the today command there. If you plan on updating after launch, you could always add more modes, etc. later if you decide to. I'll probably do updates, but I don't want it to feel like an incomplete game at launch. I feel like a lot of games launch and they're like, okay, here's our roadmap for like until V1. And I think this is only fine if you launch in early access. If you launched as a V1, like you're a full product and you're like, oh, we're still not done yet, I think you should have held off, or you should have launched in early access. What about one big challenge, just one hard mode, or a smaller number of challenge scenarios than 10, like you said? Yeah, that's another, I think this is kind of an interesting question. Like we could do something where challenge number 1 is like the easiest of the challenges. And then challenge number 2 builds on that by adding even more constraints. Because we have a lot of this coded already. And then so on and so forth until we get to like challenge number 5 has maybe like 10 constraints placed on you. So you're getting less loot, you're getting fewer items, your, you know, customers are tipping less. I don't know, it all kind of adds up to just like, well, lean on your meta perks. Hey, bad Chris. Resident Lurker. A long break from streaming? Well, probably just a long shift from the norm. I'll probably still stream here and there. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be every day. In fact, something I should probably do starting now is cut out all the other streams that we have. Skip. Skip. Not sure why they didn't put this button on this. Like, they have a delete and they have an edit. They should just have a skip next stream button, so you don't need to click each individual thing. I guess that's why vacation mode exists. And maybe I should just do that. No one even looks at the schedule, as far as I know. But there, it's been updated. Plenty of games that add significant updates on top of a finished game. Yes, that definitely happens. I think that's totally fine to do. I think there are a couple of issues. Like I said, one is an unfinished game being launched as a finished product. I think that's a problem. And I think the other problem is gamers expecting more out of a fully, like, finished product. I think both of these are issues. And as an example, you're like Kirby Air Riders. Sakurai said that, hey, I'm not gonna, like, that's it. I've made the game I want to make. That you're not gonna get like updates for 3 years or something. And some people have embraced that and they're like, oh, that's really good. And other people are upset about it because they're like, well, I like the game. I want more of the game. I want there to be more levels and more riders and more characters and colors. And yeah, that's natural. I think that's just kind of gamer passion coming out. But I think it becomes a problem when people start reviewing negatively because they're like, well, the game launched and now, I don't know, it's been 6 months and nothing's been done with it. It's like, well, did you have fun with it? Is that starting from today? When are you coming back? Yeah, so this afternoon, I think, is when it's going to start. And I need to just focus on, yeah, marketing and, I don't know, doing a bunch of other stuff. Let's say I had decided, you know what, we're going to work on bone mode and it's going to take us 12 days. I would do this stuff on stream. There's no reason for me to not stream this. The problem is marketing is very hard to stream because it's a lot of like, I go watch people's videos, which I can't stream myself because it's their content and I haven't asked for permission. And then I go email them and that involves me like finding their email address. And sometimes I have to dig pretty hard for that. That's not good stream content. Yeah, I don't know. It's stuff like that, which I just can't easily do while I'm streaming. Sometimes I feel like tomorrow's a day. When I wake up, I say no. Yeah, I think it's good to at least realize, do you want to do it? Do you look forward to doing it? After you've done it, do you feel like there was value? So I think there was a lot of value in the streams I've done up until now. I just think now the most important thing is probably marketing and also getting like the new Steam pages up. There are a lot of Steam pages that at the bottom do not have an advisory about like, this is private, don't share this. So this doesn't have anything at the bottom saying that. But if I were to click like random buttons over here, there are some of these that say like, you shouldn't be sharing the screen. So I want to be mindful of that. But like, yeah, one of the biggest tasks I've had that I haven't done yet is go make the final Steam page. Or rather, like get these builds online. So this is the final Steam page. I guess it's online technically. But yeah, there's just download demo. I need to at some point like upload some builds so that Valve can test this and then I don't know what they do. Like, yeah, I want to launch the game. Thank you, Smurf. Do I stream every time I work on the game, but marketing stuff and kind of boring? Yeah. It is kind of boring. Do we determine it's not doable to clone adventurers? Like, say, a mode where you only have 10 mushy to start battle with? It would be a bunch of dev work, and it would, I mean, there'd have to be a lot of game design changes, too. Because I think if we just gave you 10 of an adventurer, you'd be like, all right, I'm just going to use these like I use my regular adventurers. If you got to choose them, there'd have to be a reason for you to choose one over the other. The game just wasn't really designed that way. But yeah, going back to what Monadic Bind has suggested, I think this way could potentially work. It's basically like, it's like the Ascension system, but condensed. Let me see, of all these constraints, which ones are ones that we could like kind of easily use. Whoops, I meant to type that. That's fine, that's fine. That's probably not great. This is okay. Yeah. Yeah, no shop storage perks. That's a very special one. Customer worker speed perks, again, pretty special. The rest of these are fine so far. This doesn't, none of the challenges will work. Yeah, so all of these. So we have 23 of these, and 3 of them I said are kind of weird in that I don't think they're a good idea to put in the game. So we really have 20. And over the course of 5 challenges, we could pick like, I don't know, 10 or 15 of these and throw them in. Hey, Hyper. Has it led to a good number of players? I don't know exactly. It's hard to correlate, but I don't think streaming has been the lion's share of the players who've played Skeleseller. But it's been like a nice little trickle of people. I found some playtesters through that. So like, don't get me wrong at any point in this. I think streaming has been like massively beneficial for myself. It's kept me on task. It's gotten some good ideas incorporated in the game. It's cut through a lot of the development woes that I've had. It's kept me sane. And it has found some players and playtesters and translators, and yeah, there's been a bunch of benefit to it. I just think we're entering a phase where I can't benefit from it so much. And I do plan to come back to streaming full time at some point. So like, let's say Skeleseller is done and I start a new game, I'll probably do it on stream. Enchanter one can definitely be a challenge if fine-tuned. The Enchanter one? What are you talking about? This one? Also, items disappearing when they touch the ground. Okay, that's pretty impactful. You deleted the Enchanter challenge. Oh, the Enchanter challenge is in the game. That's why I deleted it. It's not really intended to be a negative. It's just, where is it? It's this one. You start with the Enchanter and like a ton of Enchanter perks. This is a positive. I just want to see what are the negative ones that are stackable. So these are all the negative ones here. And then these ones aren't really ones that should stay in. Like if you can't upgrade your town storage, it kind of just makes it unfun for a lot of the time. Hobby game dev, I'd be interested in marketing streams, even you don't show email writing and mute videos you watch. Yeah, yeah. It is a lot of legwork. I think it'd be interesting to see like once maybe. But I'll give you an example of what I did the other day. I did some follow-up emails. So like I'd sent emails back in August and I just said like, hey, are you interested in this? That sort of thing. Then I like found some new people. This was a combination of looking at YouTube and Twitch and like a whole bunch of metrics and finding people's email addresses and stuff. And then I crafted some messages to those people. And sometimes this is through like Twitch whispers. If I can't find their email address, it's through their Discord server. It's through email if I can find it, or whatever other means I can potentially muster up. And then I try to tailor this to the people that I'm messaging. So like I try to get an idea of their personality and whether they're like zany or whether they're serious or whatever. And yeah, I think my response rate has been pretty good. But could I show this process on stream? Not easily. And yeah. And like I said, I don't think it'd be very interesting after maybe the first time. When is it done? If the market likes it, it'll never be done. Yeah, that's probably true. But it all depends on to what level the market likes it. There are different levels of success with any game, right? If you make anything more than $0, then you can say like, you made a sale. Someone thought highly enough of your game to buy it. So in some case, that's a success, right? But that's like a tier of success. So probably anything less than, $1,000 is like, it's a pretty minor success. You made some sales. That's great. There's a point where I would have gotten paid minimum wage to do this. And I forgot exactly the number of sales that was, but it will have been 2 years of working on this. And minimum wage here is like something like $40,000 a year. So I'd have to make $80,000. That's the next level of success. Then there's like this would have competed with a regular or typical job level of success. And that's probably in the like 100K per year. And then there's I don't know. Anyway, just different echelons of all this stuff, right? So like, I don't think I'm going to stop doing game development regardless of how this works. I mean, if there were 0 sales, I'd probably reevaluate my life. All right, so would this be fun? one big challenge, just one hard mode, or just the smallest number of challenge scenarios than 10, like you said. Yeah, so I like this idea. I think this is more amenable, and we'd be able to figure out if people actually like this. Like, we could even potentially do 3 challenges just to see if people like this idea. I wonder if we were to split this up, how we'd do this exactly. I think less loot could be interesting. It would make this take a little bit longer. What else? And maybe things cost a little bit more. I want to be careful about this. Botland kept me in game dev. Not monetarily, it didn't. That's a lot. Yeah, I think Seattle has a really high minimum wage. What is it right now? Seattle minimum wage is $21.30 per hour. And you generally work about 50 weeks and you work 40-hour weeks. So 50 times 40 times 21.30. Yeah, about 40,000 a year. So yeah, it's somewhat high here. But the reason I use that as a comparison is because, like I said, if I just like walked out, got a job at McDonald's and worked there for 2 years, currently it would have made me more than I would have made doing game dev. But that's because the game's not out. But yeah, ideally, game dev would have made more than that. Yeah, so let's look through these and see how this is, because this is pretty easy to code. If we just lump in 3 more challenges, then we have to change a couple of strings we have in the game, because I guess there'll just be 13 things. Only 2 weeks of vacation. Yeah, again, these are just approximates. It's more about the money than the how long is vacation, or are you getting paid for that vacation, or anything else. It's just an approximate. If you took 4 weeks of vacation, it'd probably work out to whatever, $47,000 or something. I'm just making up a number. Or sorry, $37,000. I meant. Kept you in game dev more so as you're here, not quitting. Oh yeah. No, I like game dev. I still like the process and everything. I want to try a very different process for the next game too. I want to take a much more AI centric approach and just see how that goes. And maybe I hate it. Maybe other people hate it and don't want to play the game, but I want to see how it goes. All right, more enemy damage. Anything that stops you from getting far enough in the map, I think is going to be a problem. I also wonder if we start you with item stacking. We could make, we already have that graphic for this. So we have all of these 6. We could add a 7th one here that is specifically item stacking, costs like a ton. So how much does this cost? We're at 420 and we go down to 270. So it's 150 to max this out. So I'm thinking like item stacking could cost 150 on its own. And I think that'd be kind of interesting. Yeah, I like that idea. I think I do want to add in item stacking. I think we need to read through this list again, by the way. What else do we have? Negative twist, limited options. I don't want to do that. Remove this. I don't want that. I love this idea. I think it's so cool. A shadow customer, a townsperson that takes items without paying. We use the shadow graphics. It's just very flavorful sounding, but I don't think we're going to end up doing this. But yeah, here were the graphics that we had. We're using these in the game already, or most of them at least. I don't think all of them. I think we used 8 of the 10 of these. Yeah. We don't have walking graphics, I just realized though. Did you commission this paper UI with the bone border? This one? This is all Quickie Joe's work. I think basically everything you see here is his work, except for that one gem. That was from an asset pack. But he drew the paper stack, he drew the X, he drew the little banner that drops down for the tabs, he drew the button panel, he drew each one of these icons, he drew the horizontal rule here, and he handmade the font. So like literally everything you see other than the gem here is his work. Can you catch stealing customers? Yeah, there'd probably have to be a way to do that, but I don't think we're going to end up adding that. The shadow customer idea. I'm just reading through this. Images and conclusion leans toward doing this. Challenge scenarios. Enemies get a lot harder, starting with several adventurers. Okay. Isn't ever really a need for 2 of these. Don't find a ton of loot. Yeah. Hey, Flair. It's going pretty well. Okay, so yeah, I think what I'm leaning toward is we have 3 challenges. They stack constraints, and we add another upgrade in the form of item stacking that costs a ton. You get 15 points per completion. Where's that number? Did I close it? I probably closed it. End screen. Yeah, you get 15 per completion. So by the time you get to level 10, you'll have 150 points. So if we make item stacking cost 150, that'll take every single one of your points to get. I think that's too much, probably. Maybe make like 8 scenarios worth of stuff. I kind of want to do that, though. Yeah, what if we make it cost 150 and then the next level costs 200? So it's like 350 total points to get that. End of an era. Well, I say indefinite, but remember, indefinite just means I don't know when it will end, not that it's forever. I think some people take it to mean forever. It might be a week. I don't know. Maybe I do the marketing stuff and I'm like, well, this is a waste of my time. I'm going to get back to development. But yeah, I'm not sure. Mastery of quick menu, mastery of economics, mastery of combat. I don't think you can test those things, though. Like, mastery of the quick move menu is what you do in order to get faster times already. And mastery of economics and combat, they're too tied to each other for you to just do one of them. So yeah, I like this idea. And then yeah, as far as the constraints go, I started to write them out. Yeah, so I like this and this. And maybe that's just challenge number 1. I don't know. We don't need to go crazy with this. Although I think... Where are dud perks? Oh my god, dud perks aren't even in here? Is there a whole set of other things that I didn't consider? Oh my god. Okay. Whoops. Worker strike. These were twists. Oh man, where did I delete twists? Deleted code. I forgot about these altogether. Trade-off perk choice. Trade-off perk choice generator. Here it is. All right, what are the negatives? Negatives are here. I'm going to close every other tab beyond this one. I forgot about these. Wait, less loot exists, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. Wow. Worker strike. We're not doing worker strike. That's crazy. But this one I really like. Town per cost, farm crop value. These could be negative. It's an income multiplier. Income multiplier. Interesting. Please hold me accountable. I mean, I think you don't need an excuse to not work on something. Or rather, your excuse can be something pretty basic, like I'm burned out. I mean, I haven't been doing a lot on Skeleseller, and I'm launching in 64 days. I feel like this last week wasn't that great. Remove workers. Now the quick move menu is the only option. Yeah, but like I said, I feel like the game already tests you on this enough. You know, if you go into this and you are... How many points do you have? I don't know. You have whatever it is, 75 upgrade points. So now you're not over leveled for this. The goal is to beat this in 27 minutes. I don't remember how hard that is, but the way you do this is pretty much by using the quick move menu a lot. So I think if we were like hyper focus on that by not giving you workers, it would feel even more like, oh, I already used this, or it's now an RTS or something. Yeah, I like the dud perks idea. All right, so what next? So this would be challenge 1. Challenge number 2 would be all of those and customers don't tip. Items disappear faster. This probably doesn't impact you all that much, does it? Enemies can dodge. This makes enemies very powerful. And then challenge number 3 would be all of those and So now what's good to have? Item sales are worth less. Slower adventurers and workers. I don't know if that's fun. Increased enemy stats. Can you have this and the positive one? I'm not sure if that's even possible. Maybe I should delete that one. We could have the income multiplier. I think having perks cost more is probably a good idea. And what else? What else? What else? Treasure chest cost more? Yeah, but now I think we just need to mix up the order of these. Like, enemies can dodge should maybe go into the final one. And instead we put this one up here. And items disappear faster, we put here and put less loot over here. Items disappear faster. It's not really that difficult, right? I don't know. Thanks, Diamond. Enchanter spells cost more. So I wanted to do this indirectly. Like, enchanter spells are essentially going to cost more because enemies are harder to kill. There are more perks polluting the pool. So you're not getting the more mana upgrade as frequently. And then you get less loot. You're getting fewer tips. Treasure chests cost more. So you're competing for that even more. So in essence, everything is getting worse as you do any of these things. Yeah, okay. Well, so how does this idea sound to the people who've played Bone Mode already, which is probably not many of you. But like, so we have 10 fun scenarios and then 3 hard scenarios. And yeah, they stack negative constraints on top of each other. And I think we call them challenge number 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, I don't think this is going to be a surprise. You'll do this. This will be the last like fun one. And then it's going to say, well, this will be scenario number 11. You'll see a challenge number 1. And you'll just see, yeah, difficulty things here. Yeah, okay. I'm leaning toward this. I like this idea. And we've already pretty much coded it, so we can just go do this really quickly, right? All difficulty data. So right now we have this unspecial. If we delete this from the code, then anyone who already translated this, it's going to be gone, right? Unspecial. Yeah, it's already been translated to French and German. It just sounds like a grind. Just farm the Bone Mode perks and hope you get lucky with early rolls. Well, the hope you get lucky part is like, that's only if you care about the time, which if you made it to this, yeah, maybe you do. But, I mean, technically kind of all of them are a grind, right? Like, if you're not having fun playing the game, you probably wouldn't have even gotten to this point. Yeah. Now, there's a question of do we do this, which is you have no benefits, but there's no negatives yet. I mean, it'd be a free scenario because there's nothing to code. Then I don't think that's worthwhile. I think we just go right to the challenge ones. All right. I wonder if we should keep track of strings that have already been translated by a human and like write those in a file somewhere. Hey, Maya. I'll just delete this for now. How many wish lists? We're still at less than 10,000. It really slowed down midweek. So we're at 99.55. This was when I was like, oh man, look, things are rising. Hopefully they just keep rising. And then they like tanked. And now, yeah. So we had made it up to like 104 wish lists in one day, 96. These are all really good numbers. And then it dropped from 96 to 40 and then dropped again to 35 and then 26. So it's on its way down. If only we could replicate this week. So I got to focus on marketing some more. Are you happy with Godot? Yeah, I'm happy with Godot. All right, so I'm going to delete this. So we have challenge 1, challenge 2, and then challenge 3. And then delete everything else, I guess. Yeah. And now we got to put in these constraints correctly. So this is going to be items disappear faster, more enemy damage, and dud perks, which is not a thing we can do. I got to add that in. And then these 3. Whoops. Whoop. What did I just do? Adventurers regenerate slower. Enemies can dodge fewer customers. All right. Put those. Oh, wait. This is technically not how this works. What am I doing? Because now we don't have any of the ones from the prior section. We need to make like a special constraints thing for this. If the Godot team could assist in any marketing. So there is something that I have written down, which is that if you go to Godot's website, they have somewhere here like games that are made with Godot. Where do they have that? Probably in community somewhere. Showcase? Yeah, showcase. Here we go. So yeah, I could probably reach out about this. I don't know how much this helps. It's probably not nothing. But I imagine to get one of these games listed, they already need some success. So like Gordlets, I haven't heard of that, but let's go search for that. Gordlets Steam. Yeah, like this looks like it was doing pretty well. Got 1,800 reviews, very positive. Of Life and Land, let's go look at that one, and then I'm not going to look at more of these. Of Life and Land, Steam. This one's only 265 reviews. So, yeah, who knows? I should probably look into that, though. Anything's better than 0. Never been to the Godot website to look for a game to play. I don't think that's the scenario that probably happens. I think the scenario is like, this engine looks interesting, but like, has anyone actually used it to make a game? And then they go over here and they find the showcase and they're like, oh, I played that game and I played that game. Yeah, okay, cool. This is a real engine. I think that's the scenario. And then while you're on this page, you might be like, okay, like there's a technique I want to learn what other game used it or something. It's probably like that, as opposed to, like you said, like a gamer going there and saying, I want to find a game. Because I think if you wanted to do that, you'd probably go to Steam and type like Godot games or something. They probably have a way of doing this. Maybe they don't. I know this is a curator thing, but I know Itch has a way to do that. Top Godot games on Steam. Okay, never mind. Maybe this is not a thing you can search for. I don't know if they exposed that information. All right, so dud perks. This was something that would be gotten mid-run. Where is it? It's a generated ability. When generated, you would get this, and then they just start showing up. So we need to search for this. Yeah, here it is. Okay, that's pretty reasonable. So we just need to grant this at the beginning, like grant dud perks, which means constraint ID needs a new thing. Grant dud perks. Is there a reason why these are numbered? I don't think there is. Hey Hex, and hey Matt Dev. Many YouTube channels make videos showcasing games made with Godot. Yeah. No, anyone can do that sort of thing. What I was wondering is, like, if you go to Itch and you search for let me just go to Skeleseller on Itch, I guess. Yeah, here. There's a way to here, made with Godot. If you click this, you find all games made with Godot that at least manifested that they were made with Godot. This is something that I think the developer has to specify. Also, I have a notification. What is that? Oh, nice. Someone followed me. Yeah. So I don't know if Steam has a way to do this. That's what I was wondering. So there are 80,000-ish games that were made with Godot. What about ones made with Unity? Yeah, okay. So like roughly 3.5 times that amount. And then made with Unreal. Oh my God, even more. I'm actually kind of surprised by that. Oh, no. That switched back to games. Okay, that just wasn't a URL. All right. How hard is Godot compared to other engines like Unity, Unreal? Like what's the complexity compared to them to get up and started? I think the complexity is actually lower to get started, but it's all in the eye of the beholder. You might just naturally find that one of these workflows works better for you. With that said, Unreal has quite a lot of very advanced systems in it. And I imagine that even if you know what you're doing and you're a game dev, just learning the Unreal way of doing things would probably take you a lot of time. I think Godot has less of that. Less like here are paradigms that are specific to Godot and that you need to learn and this like difficult system or something like that. It's like, I think you can get up and running probably pretty quickly. But it all depends on the kind of game you're making too. If you want to make like some hyper realistic 3D game, I think Unreal is probably your best bet for just getting started with that. All right, so Grant Dud Perks is here. We just got to go fill this in. Grant start of run effects core. Cool. Yeah, let's go save this. So this is Grant Dud Perks challenge constraint. All right, so what is this? Start with the warehouse and all shops at max capacity. Isn't there already a Dud Perks description somewhere? Yeah, here. I want this. This doesn't even use the abilities components. We can just make a new one of these. Return Dud Perks can show up. We got to make a new one of these? No, no. All right, no, we'll just manifest this as a public thing, I guess. Oh, it can't be, well, I guess it can be. Public static string get description. I want this to be exactly this. And I want this to just return get description. Cool, but shouldn't this have been possible without that? Display name. Start making an RPG. Godot's a great choice if you know some Python. Yeah, and if you don't know some Python, I think it's still pretty easy to learn. Yeah. And hey, Justice. By the way, no, Godot does not use Python. Godot uses GDScript, but GDScript looks very similar to Python. Should you write as many POCO classes as possible so that later you can move to Unity or another engine is needed? Like plain old C classes? I think that's what you're talking about, or C#. I think this all depends on what you actually are looking for. And practically, I think the answer is no. I think the practical answer is try the game engines while prototyping your game. And then settle on one. And then hope you never want to switch. I don't think many games get like 1 year into development, into like a 2-year cycle, let's say, and then be like, we need to change engines. Because the overhead you're going to have from architecting your code in such a way that it's sort of engine agnostic is probably not going to be worth it, because most people aren't probably going to switch. So then you'd have taken a 10 or 20% hit to your development efficiency so that you could potentially switch later, which will probably not happen. So it's kind of the same thing as insurance. It's like if I said, hey, do you want, I don't know, C# insurance? And you're like, what's that? And I'm like, it's if C# is ever, I don't know, abandoned and unusable, and it'll pay out, pays out $5 million. It's like, would you get this insurance? Probably not. Probably wouldn't be like, it's going to get abandoned in the next like 2 years. So I think it's kind of the same thing here. It's like, you just would make sure that that's not going to happen. Now, if you somehow knew it was going to happen, one, I'd be like, why wouldn't you just work around it to begin with? But yeah, you could architect your code in such a way to make it easier, but there's still going to be things that don't translate one-to-one, like how animations are done or the the way you set up your entity component systems might be different between the engines. So games can't be made in Python. Good games can't be made in Python. Good games can be made in any language. And in fact, Python had Pygame. Still probably has Pygame. I don't know how many successful games were made in this. But like, you can make games in Python. And the engine went from version 2 to 6. Should or would you upgrade your game to the newest version? It depends on what features were made in that time. Also, this hypothetical is a little bit skewed. Like, no major game engine has 4 major versions in 2 years. That just isn't the thing that happens. But anyway, still, like, let's say I want to buy 1 major version or 2 major versions or something. I think you'd still have to consider, what am I going to benefit from? And we're on 4.4.1 in Godot, and they're up to, I think, 4.6 in beta. And I've looked at every single blog post they've made, and I've been like, will this drastically impact Skeleseller? And it generally won't. So I've made a note of, here are all the things that will change. Like, we can get rid of this comment, we can get rid of this issue, we can get rid of whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, none of this is super important. So if Godot had a new major version and it were impactful to us, yeah, we'd probably switch. So Pygame is an engine then? Yeah. I mean, if you think about what is an engine, it's pretty much just anything that will take on some aspect of the problem for you. So a game engine is probably going to do things like rendering or input handling or audio or animations or something, maybe loading and saving, anything, right? And an engine could be just these 2-3 things or something, or just these 2 things. It all kind of depends on your definition of that. So is Pygame an engine? Yeah, it handles rendering, it handles input, it handles audio. It probably does some of this stuff. I don't know. Yeah, networking physics. Yeah. I don't need to keep listing different things. I'm just saying, like, an engine is not, it has to do these 8 things, and if it doesn't, it's not an engine. It's just a loose definition. Hey, Corpsey, hey, Curdlefish. All right, so we have a get description function now. We're going to use this. This is static, right? Yeah, we're going to use this from here. So get description. And that way we don't have a second translated string that shows up here. And then in this, we're going to give you an ability, which we must have somewhere, right? Please tell me we have this somewhere. Force grant abilities. Here it is. Does this do so by giving you a perk? Force grant abilities. So far, no perks. Yeah, force grant perk. This is not a perk. I want to just give you the ability directly. Oh man, why did we never do this? Okay, well, it never happens. So I guess let's go look at town challenge mode functions, because this has to do something here, right? Don't we give you the quick move menu, item actions menu, quick move menu? What do we call it? Where is it? I haven't touched this code in like 2 months, and I don't see where we give you abilities. Apply meta perks is probably pretty close to it. Grant starting town perks. No, there's got to be something where we give you things like hardworking adventurers. Where's that? Yeah, where do you exist? Oh, I think I remember what I did with this. Yeah, here. Innate challenge mode abilities. Okay, that's what I gotta search for. Aha. Okay, got it. So, problem figured out. Now we just need to do that for dud perks. Town.player abilities .set ability level ability ID dud perks. Done. Okay, so now this thing, we can get rid of this, get rid of this. This is called grant dud perks. This goes into all difficulty data. And we put this here. And now we go try running this, and we should see dud perks show up. How do they sync all player movement, health their items to match everyone in that match. There are thousands of such matches going on. So the very kind of short overview of how this sort of thing works is, in general, there's going to be a set of game servers, and each game server will run like its own game in its own, like, either a process or a VM or just some like section of memory. So when you have, let's say, I don't know how big Call of Duty matches can get, but let's say they're like 32 players. Like, these 32 players cannot interact with the 32 players who are in another game. So like, these are isolated to some extent. That's kind of step one. But then how do you actually synchronize things between them? And in general, there are some like high level things you can do. You either like just send inputs and occasional game state syncs, or you could send like all information. I mean, Call of Duty wouldn't do this, but if you have a really simple game like Tetris, you could just send the game state every single frame. But in general, it's typically going to be this, because this will cut down what you have to do. So like, you're holding W in your game. The server knows how to handle, oh, you're moving forward, and here's how fast you move forward, and here's whether there's an object in front of you. And then occasionally the server and the client aren't going to agree on something, and they have some way of solving that. So in an FPS, for example, where you're targeting the enemy is not actually where they are anymore, at least not according to their game state. So when you think you've hit them, the server needs to know that you could think that you hit them, and not that they're behind a wall or something, and needs to be able to reconcile that. And then there are other little things that happen too. Well, little things are not really little, like prediction of where you're going to go for if we don't get input from you for a frame or two. Any sort of like, I don't know, yeah, like correcting any incorrectly synced game states. What's a server? I only understand it's kind of a computer or number of computers, kind of like navigating the traffic like a conductor. A server in this case is pretty much just any computer running a program for, or running something for other people. That's what I generally say. So in this case, a game server, if you consider a game like, I don't know, like a shooter game, a game server is going to be where all the players connect, and it's going to handle managing that match. Or I guess a really simple thing like a chess game server, it's pretty much just going to take in, like, you clicked this piece and moved it here, and it's going to validate the input and then update the players in the game. Maybe it logs some metrics around this stuff or saves a history of what you did. So it being a server is just, it's doing something for someone else. Very, very common example is a web server. If you go to Google, like, they're serving you a web page. So you go to google.com and like you see the search bar and can type things in. So yeah, it's just a computer or set of computers that's doing something for you. Currently using Rider with Godot C#, handy for refactoring. Yeah, sounds like it's nice. Games are probably using AI for their prediction method now. I doubt it, because the kind of prediction we're talking about here is prediction for like, hey, we missed input for a couple of frames, and you typically wouldn't have an AI response in that amount of time, or at least not like an LLM sort of thing. You might have some AI heuristic of like, well, players tend to move forward if they're not going to move otherwise, but that doesn't really need to be AI. That could just be some hard-coded heuristics that you have. All right, so I was going to try this. I don't know how I even restarted this. But if we go to challenge 1, excuse me, we should see dud perks show up, and we should see this description. Whoops, what am I doing? That's not even the right game mode. Here we go. The new game, we go to this. Items disappear faster, enemies do 125% damage, and 5 dud perks can appear as choices when you buy a town perk. All right, and then it breaks. So what's going on here? Tips dictionary, town gameplay mode. Does this mean that there was a problem before this? Yes, there was. Data does not match max difficulty. Yeah, this is now going to be 12. That's kind of weird. Is that right? Because it's technically 13 if you, yeah. And then we got to go change the achievement. I don't even know where that is. Oh, wait, no. It's probably based on this, right? Achievement system. Here it is. Yeah. If you did the last one of these, then you're good. So we just needed to change the text of it. Oh, man. We should probably change the text to say you've beaten the 3rd challenge or something. All right, well, let's keep going and just see if this works. Did it load? Yeah, nice. Okay. So now when we try buying a town perk, we have a pretty high chance of finding a dud perk. Yeah, there we go. Dud perk 5. Does nothing. Nothingness amount, extra nothing. Yeah. So I like this. So this is what would force you to re-roll here. And now we find a different dud perk and we re-roll again. And now there's no dud perks. Although you could just choose them and eventually get them out of the pool. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. And I like that it's kind of a jokey start to the difficulty because it's going to ramp up. The issue we are going to have here is that there's nothing that indicates that you get all the previous constraints. So here it says items disappear from the ground faster, enemies do more damage, 5 dud perks can appear, and here's just 3 different ones, and here's 3 different ones. What I wanted it to be is all of the prior ones and these 3 new ones, and then all of those 6 and 3 new ones. So we have a couple different ways we can do this. So problem, we don't accumulate negative modifiers right now. And option 1 would be, well, we have actually 2 problems. We need to render that to the player or for the player, and we need to stack the constraints. This is pretty easy to solve. The rendering it to the player is a little bit harder. So option 1 would be make a custom display for this that says something like all constraints from previous challenges and ... then only show the new ones. Option 2, show all of them, but in a scroll container. And have the newest ones at the top, I guess. I kind of like this. I don't know if this is going to be too much. We can try it out. Can we now get the achievement to buy all the duds? I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Change the achievement to mention beating the final challenge. Or maybe it should be getting gold or something on it. No, just beating it I think is probably fine. All right, so yeah, let's try the scroll container thing. So we go to new challenge run screen, and it has this no special modifiers. Where is that? Where is that? It's below this challenge description. Here it is. Okay, so we can put this inside of a scroll container. I don't think that's probably the best UI. Well, maybe it is. It's very clear which 9 things you're getting. But yeah, we gotta add a scroll container for that and put that here. So now this would never wrap. Well, I guess technically it is set to wrap, but then this needs a size. Minimum size. I want it to be like the size of a label. What is going on here? Oh, this also needs a minimum size. This should just be set to expand. This isn't working. There we go. Okay. So yeah, minimum size. Actually, yeah, that does matter. How do we do this? A thick content clip. I don't want it to clip. So can't I set this lower now? Yeah. Wait, no, this is still going to be an issue, right? I need this to take up as much space as it can in this dialogue. So we need to set this thing. And then whether or not this is set shouldn't matter. Something's not working. I think the issue is that this is a max size container. Okay, I think this is probably a bad idea. Although the whole thing is going to need to scroll, and I don't think there's any scroll container here, is there? No, there isn't. General problem for me in game dev is probably game design, or at least creating content for the game. In general, I can solve the implementation of systems most of the times and take inputs and produce outputs. I don't know what to do next. Like, what should an NPC say or do? So the actual, yeah, I would say there are those kind of components you've identified: game design and the game development and the content for any of those systems. I think game design, what's tricky about it is that iterating is tough. Like, anyone can open a document and design a game, but then how do you know that design was good without creating the game? And that's the hard part. Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to open a document and just spew a bunch of ideas. So I think it's important to realize, what are the constraints that you have for a game? What problems are you solving? I wrote a bunch of notes on some of this stuff online. Let me share this, although this might not be helpful for you. But here are some notes that I wrote about, like, hey, what about creating things from scratch? I mean, this is a very long note, and they're just sort of things I thought were important to write down. But game design is a pretty wide field. But then, yeah, once you've written all your systems, let's say you have a great game. Let's say you made, the next World of Warcraft. You still need to make every single quest, ability, like item, crafting recipe. Like, these are things that if the game were just handed to you and you had to make these, a lot of people would do a bad job at these, because it's not easy filling in content for things. And if you've ever played like someone's platformer mod or an RPG mod, you'll typically see a lot of like really amateurish design. Even with quests, like, there are collect quests and people have their issues with them, right? Like, collect, 10 bat wings or something like that. But an amateurish design would be to be like, collect 1,000 bat wings. It's like, what is the point of this? And every once in a while you see this just skewed reality of people don't understand, like, is this actually fun to do? They were just kind of making it in isolation. And maps, yeah. There's a lot of content. Hey, Toulouse. Just like the alpha, I threw the whole thing out and started over. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I designed a game that wasn't fun. By the way, Final Fantasy 1 is on Game Pass now, so I downloaded it. And first of all, I don't remember the intro having so many like cutscenes in it. That was incredibly boring, and there was no way to skip them. But yeah, the game sucks. It's just a bad game, and I don't think Final Fantasy 1 held up after even like probably 7 or 8 years, but it's been a long time now. Final Fantasy 1 came out in what, 87, I want to say? Yeah, 87. Yeah, so we're approaching 40 years old on this game. And it almost doesn't matter how good a game was then. There's only so much that can hold up. It's like, you might find the graphics charming. Music is always a little tough because I think that you have to separate musical ideas from the implementation. You couldn't get realistic sounds from an NES. So yeah, the ideas could be good, and I think the ideas are good. The music's pretty good in that game. But the actual like chiptune style, not everyone's cup of tea. And then also because of space issues, typically a lot of game music back then, even if it was good, had to loop after like 50 or 60 seconds. So yeah, it just doesn't hold up that well. And I'm like, hey, what if we took that game and automated it? And turns out that doesn't hold up either. Hey, Becca. Yeah, I think this scroll idea is probably not great, although some part of this needs to scroll, so I'll write this down. I need to fix the layout issues with the new run screen. So if we were to say that this uses ones from previous scenarios, how would we handle that? Because I think we're going for option 1 here, make a custom display. But on the new run screen, we just show the constraint string. The constraint string needs to know if okay, so what we could do here is we could code something special. We could say if the first constraint is like use prior constraints, that we do something certain here. Why doesn't difficulty data contain an ID? Oh, because they're organized in the array by ID, essentially. That's why I didn't need one here. So we'd otherwise have no way of knowing this. But yeah, so what I'm thinking is we put in some constraint that says like all prior challenge constraints. Well, I guess the first one doesn't need it, but we put it here and we put it here. Or maybe we make it even clearer. We say like prior challenge constraints and all prior challenge constraints. And this one says something like, well, I guess we put it at the bottom. Also includes all, yeah, prior challenge constraints. Do we call them constraints? Parameters? Yeah. Parameters. All challenge number 1 parameters. And then this would say also includes all challenge number 1 and challenge number 2 parameters. Systems are fun to build but hard to make. Yeah, I think the systems are generally fun. I think it's hard to design them too sometimes. Oh, hard to make fun. Sorry. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Hard to make fun. Yes, I agree with that. I misread your first message. You didn't know it until you made a game loop and tested it. It's a no loss. Well, there's a loss of time, I guess. Plus, there was a chance that we made a game that's not salvageable. But that's at least the point of prototyping. Your prototype might work, it might not work, but the point is that it's cheaper than making the full product would have been. So if it works, then great. Because, okay, cool, you probably saved yourself some time on the full product. And if it didn't work, then great, you saved yourself a bunch of time on making a product people didn't want. So prior challenge constraints and all prior challenge constraints. But then we need to actually make sure that these show up here. So basically anything after this, we would stop rendering. And then we just copy paste these. This would be a little bit weird to do this. And then we do the same thing over here. Yeah. I don't like that. We'd probably want to make an array out of these so we can just splat them into here. Yeah, that probably makes the most sense. Okay, let's do that. So private, static, read only. What are these? List of challenge mode constraints. Okay, I think we can make them an array. Challenge mode. Well, it could be a list. It doesn't really matter. Challenge mode constraint. All right, so this is going to be challenge 1 constraints. Come on, you typed it in. Great. Okay, so this is like that. And now I want those down here. And then I also want challenge 2 constraints up here. Yeah, so copy this. Challenge 2, and then challenge 3, we don't need anything because we only have 3 challenges. So now we take this and this. Cool. I'm getting pizza. What kind of pizza? And all prior challenge constraints. So this is going to do nothing. At least I don't think so. Prior challenge constraint. This only exists to tell the player that previous constraints will be applied. And what did I say it should say? Hello? Ready to go. All right, yeah, also includes all challenge number 1 parameters. I wonder how we can future-proof the wording of this. Well, let's not worry about it yet. All difficulty data. So then this is the next thing. All prior challenge constraints. Can we make one of these that'll just work? Because I think this is clearest to the player. Also includes all challenge number 1 parameters. The other one could say includes all challenge 1 and 2. Yeah, I think it's probably best. Barbecue sauce, chicken, onion, sweet corn, cheesy stuffed crust. Thank you. Oh, man. Also, that's quite the pizza. I know you probably answered this before. What made you switch from C# to GDScript? Oh, to C#. I've got a command which hopefully will render. Also, sorry for missing your message. I tend to read Twitch chat more than YouTube chat. Now I've got a command here that explains it a little bit more. I recommend GDScript for people who are new to Godot, despite that I didn't end up using it. But I think it's worth learning and trying and seeing how good it is compared to what you expect. Because I think it's consistently gotten better over the last 5 years. All right, so now we want this one here too. We save this. All prior challenge. Also includes all challenge 1 and challenge number 2 parameters. Okay, so let's go try that. It's not actually going to work, will it? Because I need to not render those. Yeah, so we need to go to new challenge run screen, constraint string. Yeah, and once we detect one of those, we just stop. This isn't going to work. Okay. Constraints list. All right, so we got to do this in a for loop now. I equals 0. I is less than constraints.count I plus plus. All right, so get the ID. If the ID is equal to one of these new ones, yeah, then break. We're done. Otherwise, add in this. Wait. There. Well, not quite, actually. Yeah. Constraints list plus equal constraint nugget tooltip. Why is this potentially null? It has to exist, right? Didn't we use an exclamation mark down there? Yeah, we did. So we don't need a question mark here. And then we just use this down here. Constraints list, which now we can make this look a lot better, right? We can do a $sign. All right, that does look better. So this got a little bit more complex. So we start with an empty string. We go through each constraint and we check to see if its ID is equal to that. Sure, that's fine. So then if we do, we don't list any other ones. All right, let's go try it. Worked way too long today without breaks. Why didn't you take breaks? You're talking about my hypothetical scenario, not giving enough vacation time, and you work all day with no breaks. Pizza, tomato sauce, mozzarella, grilled chicken, chicken kebab. 2 kinds of chicken. Jalapenos, bell pepper, and onion. Wow. Then 2 10-minute sessions of boot.dev. Honestly, coding isn't that hard. I'll be making the botland competitor in a month. You'll be making a bad game, Pige. So like I'm on between 2 ferns with Pige right now. Not that office. The other office, the British one. That's a good one. I'm glad you're liking it. I think it's good that you learn to do productive things with your life and not just play League of Legends and complain. I think that's helping humanity. You're hired. I'm making botland too now. Okay, so we got our 3 scenarios here, or parameters here. Here, we somehow messed this up. Yeah, whoops. I got to put this down here. And then technically this goes up here. Yep. That's also productive. I'm just making fun of Paish. Paish does this to me all the time on his stream. I agree that what he's doing is productive. Unless you're talking about League of Legends. I don't think League of Legends is productive. All right, yeah. So this works, but I think if you shrink this screen, it's going to mess everything up. Yes. So I need this to be inside of a scroll container somehow. And I don't know how you do that when you also have a max size container. Why do we do this? Why do we have a max size container? What if we just didn't? Yeah, don't we not need this? I'm going to turn that off for a second. And then we put this inside of a scroll container. Do we have prior art for this? We probably do, right? Yeah, there's a scroll container and then inside is a VBox container and then a panel container. Okay, I think that's what we want. Maybe I've done a stupid. Maybe I need to not be stupid about this. And then what? Have this take up the whole screen? Pretty much. And then expand this to whatever size makes sense. Yeehaw. Now it's not centered. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. It wasn't the way we planned it. Unfortunately, we had one volunteer in the morning, 2 of the volunteers in the afternoon. Well, it sounds like you're doing quite a lot over there, Leap Your Girl. I hope they give you that permanent contract. Must have had the stream paused at one point. Oh yeah, no worries. I should type this out. I had missed your message. There we go. League gives you strategic thinking muscles and teamwork, surely. Yes, teamwork. How can we make as many humans in the world feel bad about themselves? I know. We'll play League of Legends. I've never played League of Legends. But I do wonder how many people feel it had a positive impact on their lives. Oh, scroll container centered on screen. Interesting. I didn't even know we had this. Scroll container centered on screen. Well, well, well. All right, so now I've broken everything. Yes, I've broken everything. I want the content within this to be centered. And profit. Yeah, exactly. I guess we don't do what I just did there. Yeah, we do something like this and then just give it a size. Which I guess would be like 1280 by 720. And then we just expand this, right? Yeah. And, oh God. I think I'm doing a bad job at this. Let's just try playing this. Too bad other people play too. I wonder how League of Legends would be if you had, like, it's 5v5, right? So what if you had 9 other, like, human-like AIs who typed positive things and tried to make you kind of the star of the show, but it wasn't, like, drop dead simple still. There was still some difficulty to it. I don't know if League of Legends has a bot mode. I don't know if they talk to you if they do. But would people still like it? Because then the game would shine, right? Okay, so this looks better, but does it scroll? It does not. What am I messing up? Intended to work with a single child. Why does it have two? Oh, is it what? No, it doesn't have two. The scene has a VBox container. Oh, whoops. Whoopsie doodle. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Editable children. Put this under there. All right, so I've still somehow messed this up. What about now? this is not going to work, is it? Doom bots. What were those? Is it because I set this thing to a minimum size, or this one to a minimum size? If I shrink this anymore, what happens? Yeah, now it's scrolling. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I think this should have been very obvious from the get-go here. So this is set to take up the whole screen, and then this VBox container only takes up what it needs to. This should also probably be set to take up the whole screen. And then we just delete this? I want the minimum size of this to be a little bit larger. How do you go up by? Oh, there we go. Yeah, so maybe 1,000. But then why won't this? Oh, it does scroll now. Oh, I'm scrolling the wrong. Well, I'm not really scrolling the wrong thing, I guess. So what happens if we shrink this? Yeah, well, then you just can't read everything. But that's probably to be expected. Co-op thing. Humans versus very augmented and smarter bots. Oh, cool. Yeah, that does sound like an interesting idea. Codex. Any chat AI bot on the internet? No, but you'd have to get that to happen, right? What I'm talking about is it's you, I guess, plus 4 bots versus 5 bots. So if you make a good play, they're gonna say like, "Oh, good job," or "You really knocked that out of the park," or whatever. Get wrecked, noob. And if you make a bad play, they're still gonna just say nice things to you. So in order to get it to say bad stuff, you'd have to be priming it with bad stuff, but it wouldn't have any memory after that match. So like, yeah, you might be able to get it to say bad things, but that'll only hurt yourself. All right, so yeah, let's go over to here. All right, this is a problem. We need to expand that. I guess this should be like 1280 by default. Which maybe means I need to lay these things out differently. At least, well, now these move. Why did they move? I should probably make, yeah, I should probably do a lot of things with this. The game progression doesn't make sense with that unless there's some sort of leaderboard. What I'm saying is if the game is just fun on its own, then people might like that mode, right? I get that there wouldn't be like matchmaking really happening because it's you're just getting paired with bots. But I guess what I'm getting at is like if you're playing chess, you don't really need there to be human players in the world because a computer can be everyone and then you can just scale its level down to whatever level you're at. I get that you would want there to be human players because there's got to be some like overarching reason for you to play eventually, or that you want the social aspect. But chess as a game doesn't need there to be. And I don't think League of Legends needs there to be. You can play a bot game, I see. I think it's already been made. No. I said chest. Like treasure chest. Like the game with pawns and a queen and a king. And yeah, anyway, so I think this is looking good now. Let's see if it actually works. This should give us all the same parameters we had from the old thing. So now if I try getting a perk, oh nice, wait, what? You can start with dud perks? That's kind of funny. I'll keep that in. It's not intentional. And there's another dud perk. So now we've gotten the most nothing. All right, so that's it. We're pretty much done with the bone mode now. And these are set to some sufficiently high value. Yeah. I don't know how doable they are. And I should probably test to make sure that they still work. Town perks all cost more. I wonder how much is more. Increased town costs. Where are you used? Building cost with constraint goes up by a little bit. Adventure cost with constraint, again, goes up by a little bit. Town perk cost goes up by 5. Seriously? So if you get 30 perks, you'll spend like an extra 150. This does not seem like a big enough increase. None of these do. Because you'll have gotten the meta perk that will make it so you don't really need these. Well, I don't know. I kind of want to increase this by a bit. But I don't know if this is going to be fun. Let's just make it 6. Why not? 6 it is. I am messing everything up. All right, so I think we've coded the bulk of this stuff. Yes, we should add an achievement for this. Change achievement to mention beating the final challenge. So what does this button say now when you hover over this? There are 20 challenges. There are 20. Aw, man. We gotta change this to 13. The issue with doing that is it's gonna break our translated strings. No, thankfully both French and German just use the number. Are there any notes on this? Who modified this? Wait, this is Hideo. Never mind. I meant to click German. Malbec did. But no notes, right? Comments, none. Explanation, none. Okay, yeah. So I think I can just change the number 20 to 13. Because the rules for French and German plurals are the same. If this were Polish or something, I don't think you'd be able to do that. But yeah, I think we can do this. Translate 20 to 13. Leave it as a known issue in English. Alternatively, you know what we could do is just not even show. Wait, why is this showing here? Shouldn't this button go away? Maybe we intentionally don't hide it? No, it still says unlock the next scenario. Where does that show up? Increase difficulty tooltip. Increase difficulty button. We don't hide this ever? There it is. If it's equal to the minimum difficulty level, hide it. But we never hide it if it's at the max. We just disable it. Interesting. I feel like we should hide it if it's at the maximum, right? Because you'll never be able to click that button anymore. It is kind of weird to end at 13 scenarios, though. Is it 13 challenges or scenarios? It's 13 scenarios. Oh, that says challenges? Oh, God. The whole string's kind of bad, huh? Yeah, that's kind of bad. Do you wish it were the main language? Or at least there was some thought about it? No, not really. Yeah. Is it okay if I tell Cuddlefish about my game? Yeah. Yeah, of course. You don't need to ask for permission, Monatic Vine. All right, so we got to change this text. Yuck. Fine, I'll go get the old German and the old French. So let's copy this. Update weblate strings for unlock the next scenario. German, French. Where's the French? Here we go. I changed the string entirely, so we can't just change the number. Strange, that doesn't sound correct. What doesn't sound? This? Hideo wrote this out. I would expect this to be correct. I mean, I don't. Long next scenario by completing the last challenge. There's 20 challenges in total. Yeah, the problem is they're not really challenges anymore. Lock the next scenario by completing the latest one. There are 20 scenarios, and now they're only 13. People are going to think this is unfinished because it's weird to have 13 of these. Now, there is another thing we could potentially do here. No, we can't. Never mind. I was going to say we could just change it to say challenge number 1, but we actually put number 11 at the top. We could call it first challenge, second challenge, final challenge, something like that. I'm so torn about this. One thing, I feel like there's going to be a player expectation here. We have 13 scenarios. We will almost certainly wonder why 13? Like, why not 15 or 20? And we could get up to 15. I have a bunch of other constraints I didn't use. I don't know if it's going to be fun to just keep tacking on more and more constraints here. I don't really think it will be. But I don't know for sure people are going to like these challenges at all. But yeah, 15 is a nicer number. I mean, adding more is pretty cheap. But it's also potentially not fun. And I closed out of my thing that had all the constraints there. Hey, the Hulk. +2 with upcoming DLC. I think I want to leave this as is for now. Because I don't think adding 2 more scenarios just for the sake of it is a good idea. And we could change the numbering so that instead of showing scenario number 11, it just shows challenge number 1. I feel like these need to be separate somehow. Well, you only unlock them after you've done the first 10. I think it's weird to have their own numbering system. Like, probably what we should say, maybe we even just call this first challenge, second challenge, final challenge. Wait, this doesn't even say bone mode. It just says bone. It's not correct. Oh no. What? What's going on there? Did this always say that? Like, that can't be the case, right? Why am I just noticing this now? New challenge run screen. Did I accidentally delete it? Where's that string? Oh, there it is. Add achievements. Oh man, if I just deleted the word mode from here, I'm going to be annoyed. If it never existed, I'll be less annoyed. Huh. Huh. Okay, so let's go back to this. And then this. Welcome to the bone system. Okay, so it never said bone mode here. It always said it above it. I can see a sliding tab toggle or something at the top that separates scenarios and challenges. I think I have a couple concerns right now. One is I don't know if people will even like the challenges. So I kind of want to test this, but I'm not even sure how we're going to go about doing that. Because someone need to play through the entire game to get to this. And then, yeah, the second concern is what's the presentation like? All right, well, anyway, not writing mode here I think is okay. I'm not going to worry about that. And I do think I'm probably going to check this in. I think we need to fix this. Unlock the next scenario by completing the latest one. There are 13 scenarios. This is only when it's locked. Yeah. How about we do that? How about we just say unlock the next scenario by completing the latest one? And then instead of saying how many there are, we can change the tooltip to say you're on the final scenario. This is the final scenario. Would a new build reset my challenges? I don't know when you last played, but it's trivially easy to modify the save file to get back to where you were if you want. So if you do go look at your CM save file and you save, where is it? Just this bit pretty much, progress save data, then you can pick up where you left off. Just copy paste that back in later. Breaking out of the normal game, going to places. Yeah. Challenge 11. Have like 3 stars or something that could go up. We have the skulls in our font, don't we? I wonder if I could use that. Consider naming the challenges with skulls. Like skull. Well. Something like that. I don't know. Or just, or hard challenge, harder challenge, hardest challenge. I'm not sure, but yeah, this, I still got to figure out what I'm doing with these tooltips. Because it says unlock the scenario, next scenario by completing the latest one. But then when you get to the final one, you need to know it's the final one. So I think we should just dynamically change this tooltip. Yeah, we don't dynamically change it right now. All right. Set via code. Auto translate mode is 1. I think we need to set this to 2 so that it never translates. Where is it? Yeah, it's disabled now. Well, if you hide it when you reach the end, people might not realize that it's hidden because it's the final scenario, especially not when it's number 13. Okay, so now we got to go change this. So this is going to be increased difficulty tooltip. And what is it? Tooltip on parent? Okay. Private tooltip on parent. Good. Okay, and then we need to set the text on this thing. Update difficulty labels. So if selected difficulty label is less than the maximum, then we say this: unlock the next scenario by completing the latest one, or you have unlocked. This is the final scenario. Yeah. All right. I think that'll work. Let's go try this out. Wait a second. They always say unlock the next scenario by completing the latest one. You might have unlocked them all, though, in which case that's not even how that should read, right? And now this doesn't even work. What's going on? Object reference and update difficulty label not set because init is what's trying to set this thing. It should be in ready. Doesn't that mean we're trying to update the... Yeah, we are. We're trying to do it too soon. Okay, that's fine. Hey, Krasner, thank you. And hey, Pressel. Afternoon streams? No, this will probably be the last stream for a little while. So no afternoon stream and no probably streams the rest of this whole week. That's at least the current plan. That might change. Yeah, I don't know if we even need this here. A button at all. Like only if the current one is locked. Otherwise, we just set this to an empty string. How do we know what your highest difficulty level is? There it is. So if selected is equal to this. No. Oh my God. Why is this so difficult? What do I even want to render on this thing? Because there are multiple cases. Like case one is you have an earlier scenario selected than what you've unlocked. Show nothing. Case two, you have the latest scenario selected, but have more to unlock. In case three, you have the latest scenario selected, but all of them unlocked. What's the status? How's the work going? I mean, the work's going pretty well. Do we show nothing in this case? You're the latest selected, but have more to unlock. Yeah, I think that's all I care about is one of these cases. If you have the highest difficulty selected and the selected is less than the maximum, then unlock the next scenario by completing this one. That's it. We don't do anything else. Well, I guess we do put an else here and we say that we set it to string.empty. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it just doesn't show anything. And, oh, and then on the final scenario, it could tell you this is the final scenario. Is equal to the max difficulty level. This is the final scenario. Yeah, there we go. Did exactly what I asked for and I hate it. You could potentially use Dark Reader to set it to dark mode even without needing a cookie. Friend of mine asked if you'd already asked a streamer called something like Little Simsy. Have zero clue. Told the friend that they'll likely want to see money for promoting Scala Seller. I think she's someone I want to reach out to. If she's who I'm thinking of, let me take a quick look. Yeah. She's someone I wanted to reach out to. I think she's been mostly playing like AAA games lately, though. Yeah. Oh, wait, did it show that? This is the final scenario. Yeah, so now I got to go test what happens if you haven't gotten to the final scenario. So we say highest difficulty level unlocked is 11, let's say. Now it says unlock the next scenario by completing this one. And if we have none of them unlocked, so highest unlocked is 0, then I think the button won't even show up. Oh, this is a mistake. We got to set the... how do we do that? Strange. Difficulty level 5. I guess we have to set this to 0. Because it selects whatever you had last gone to. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, there are no buttons here. It does show a best time. You shouldn't have a best time if you've never played this before. So we start this. We beat this. Go to the title screen. Now we go to the next scenario. Wonder why it doesn't select that by default. But yeah, unlock the next one by completing this one. I think that's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think you should have to just choose the next one. Okay. All right, so yeah, as long as I'm making a bunch of changes here, let's go look at this final thing and figure out what do I want to name these. So where's highest level unlocked? Set this to 13. So challenge number 1. Can we put skulls in there pretty easily? Because we have them in the SVG font, but I don't think we fall back to this. And I don't know how we merge fonts. Unless it's in... No, wait. Oh, God. I just realized something. Any special symbols that we have aren't going to work in another language, right? So if I switch to... Oh, you can't close this by... Oh, my God. This is so annoying. I need a script in here, don't I? On click. Yeah, this. New challenge run screen. This is going to need to do what in-game menu did. Scroll container. Yeah, this needs to go in here. New challenge run screen. Okay. Scroll container centered on screen. Gotcha. All right, so that should fix that problem, I hope, which is that when you click the background of this, it'll now close it. But I wanted to check something else here. No, it doesn't work. Why not? Unable to find object of type. Scroll container with scroll shortcuts. Oh, yeah. So this is not actually correct. It's now a new thing. Or rather, this script is somewhat special. This isn't right either. Where? I had some code that would... I had some code that will let you scroll these panels, but I think I never did this with the in-game menu, which is a big problem. All right, so let's try this out. We are going to shrink this down. So this scrolls, that's fine. Now what about this? This scrolls as well. How is that possible? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, this has with scroll shortcuts. Interesting. What did I click that doesn't have it? This? Is this ever even used? I think I made a mistake. We override this? Oh my god, we override this. Okay, fine. Scroll shortcuts. All right, so now you should be able to scroll this with a controller. Yeah, nice, you can. I hope this fits on a Steam Deck screen. I don't know if it's going to. All right, but wait, wasn't there something else I wanted to test here? Oh yeah, that's right, the font. So what happens if you click any of these languages and then go to a perks tab? It doesn't render anything. No, it does. What? I think that was a bug. I don't really care about it though. But yeah, as long as this thing renders, that's fine. Do we ever use the SVG font anywhere? .otf. I don't think we ever do. No, I don't think we ever do. Huh. Yeah. We don't. All right, let me load up Glypher. Game, assets, fonts. Glypher. So we have some extra characters somewhere here. Here they are. And it's just these skulls. And I did pull one of these out as a graphic to be used. But otherwise, we don't use these anywhere. What do I want to do? Did they get back to me about the issue beyond the initial reaction? I don't think so, but I haven't really... I didn't check my notifications. Let's see. No, they're probably still looking into it. And the tab bar thing that I just filed the other day, they got back to me and said it was reproducible and then added it to some triage list. Because, yeah, this took like the bulk of Friday to figure out. Man. Hey, Oakleus. I think you should have to ask chat for permission first before you can take a stream hiatus. All right, chat. I want to show of hands. Who's going to let me leave? All right, so the thing I wanted to prevent here is having to use a different font for symbols. I still don't exactly know what I want to do for this. Also, out of curiosity, what if we tried rendering a skull? Does it prevent us from doing that? Because it should fall back to a system font, right? Which is not a good idea. Yeah, it doesn't render at all. Yeah, it's just a blank space. Permission granted. We have 2 people on board. Yeah, for what it's worth, I don't know how long it's going to be. I doubt I'm not going to stream again for the next like 2 months. I'll probably stream like here and there. Maybe this week for a little bit, maybe next week. I'm not sure. But I just don't want it hanging over me every day. Because here's how my days have been going. The mornings have been a stream for the last, well, like probably several months, unless I had an appointment or something. And then the afternoons were supposed to be streams on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And so any afternoons off, we're just supposed to be off of streaming, but I've been taking them off of work completely. So like I have not been effective myself. And I think that by not streaming in the mornings, it'll allow me to be more effective. Yeah, I appreciate it, Libra girl. But yeah, I do feel bad about this. They Adam take a break. I didn't even see this poll until it ended. Where's the... Oh, here it is. Yeah. Intermittent streaming instead of intermittent fasting. Yeah, exactly. It's a hunger strike until I start streaming again. Wouldn't be able to code in front of a bunch of people, to be honest. Feel like my reasoning would fall off a cliff. I think you'd get used to it after some point. But I don't think the benefit is necessarily that code got better or code should have gotten better. The code probably overall did not get better. But I think there are a lot of other benefits. And I just don't think I'll benefit as much from those things in the next like month or so. But we'll see. I want to pump up the Skeleseller numbers a bit more. Also, I really, really want to hit 10,000 wish lists. And we're very close. If I do nothing different, we'll probably hit this in like 3 days, maybe 2 days. Because yeah, 99.55. And today there have been 23 editions. I mean, that's pretty good. But I do kind of need this number to go into like the low number of hundreds at the least. That's awesome. Yeah, it's nice to see, but it's not nice to see the opposite of that, which is this. It's been trending. Oh, wait, what? Maybe 2 weeks? Yeah. So it's been trending downward in the last few days, starting from the 7th. It's just gone down, 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 down. And now we're still, if the day were to end here, it'd have gone slightly down. But yeah, it's definitely better than nothing. What was I going to do? Oh, yeah, right. Come up with the names for these things. Yeah, so I don't think I like having another number sign in here. So we could just name these. So problem, I don't like seeing scenario number 11, challenge number 1. Option 1, name them by difficulty. Like hard challenge, harder, hardest. Option 2, name them like sort of by difficulty. So it could be like starter challenge or first challenge. Name it by order, I guess. First, second, third. Option 3, use skulls. Or first, second, final. I'm kind of leaning toward option 2. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning toward option 2. Raimi. So I played one of those games because a streamer that I watch, Redbeard, is sponsored by them. And when you get to certain milestones, it just gives him money. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It's a free way for me to give him money. So I signed up for one of those games and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like the advertising, at least for that game, it did have zombies and it did have attractive characters in it. And I was just like, the gameplay didn't really make any sense. Like, why are these things connected? Why there was a town building mechanic, and I'm not even totally sure I remember what the gameplay was when you got into a level, like what happened. It was not a memorable game. It just felt like cash grab the game. Difficulty sometimes hidden. A lot of times they just name the scenario something unflavorful and let the player figure out. Well, so here the reason why it's important is because you're coming from easy, fun challenges, popularity and garbage enjoyer and fishing, and these are all ones that accentuate some feature or system of the game already. Like enchanting, you start with the enchanter and a bunch of perks. Storage enthusiast, you start with the warehouse and a bunch of perks. Then you get to your first challenge. So we need to indicate for sure that this is a challenge. So I think calling it first challenge seems pretty reasonable to me. So I think I'm going to just do that. So challenge number 1. What is this? Oh, I see. All right, is it going to be first challenge, second challenge, and final challenge? We delete this comment. Now we go find wherever else I put this. Huh, that's interesting. Oh, that was already there. I was like, something happened automatically here that I didn't realize. All right, let me just go rename these. Also includes the first and second challenges parameters. And then this also includes the first challenges parameters. Yeah, cool. Okay, let's go take a look at that. Maybe one of those weird ads for a game. As well as a real ad, the fake one. Got more click-throughs. No, that's okay. I don't really know what to take from that sort of thing though. Because I bucket this in a category of like things that work but are unethical. It's kind of how, because it's misleading advertising. It all depends on how they framed it and everything, right? But I think it's generally misleading. And you see this with mobile games somehow more than most things, where they'll advertise a game and that's not even the gameplay that they have. And I don't know how that's illegal or how they haven't been stopped. But I think there are a lot of things in this bucket that will get you ahead and that you probably shouldn't do if you have a conscience. Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at this. So first challenge, second challenge, final challenge. Cost more. Yeah. Okay, I think this is good. I just continue to play because I want to get to the part of the game where it's like the ad. Yeah, or if there's none of that and it's just, oh, I downloaded this because of the ad, but I'm having fun and I'm kind of hooked now, so I'll just play this game instead. And it's kind of funny. It's like if you went to a restaurant, you ordered an ice cream, and they're like, oh, here's a cookie. And you're like, well, okay, whatever. I'm getting sugar. It doesn't matter. Yeah, in fact, I added a new one where I reach out to Hideo about the new French strings. Change the achievement dimension beating the final challenge. There are now 13 scenarios, 3 of which are challenges. What about we made a game that plays just like the ad? Yeah, I've heard about those too. And I wonder how those games do. Okay. I'm interested in seeing how people like this, or I don't know, maybe they don't like it at all. We've done quite a lot. I need to fix some things here. But yeah, in general, there's some nice changes. What else? What else? What else? Yeah, adding this in. Building sounds. I mean, you know what I should probably keep track of? I should keep track of a list of things I can do on stream. So like maybe I shouldn't do any of these things right now. This is kind of done. The new phone mode run screen should probably allow shrinking horizontally. It doesn't play well with that right now, especially not with the best time text that shows. Those games. Oh, never heard of that. Fake ad games always seem like there's little depth, but there's a short-term fun factor. Yeah. It's kind of interesting too, because I think there are a lot of games that are really just a bunch of mini games. I think Mario Party might be the most popular of those. Maybe like the WarioWare games as well. I'm trying to think if there's any other like major ones like that. Anyway, I guess they're generally party games because they're supposed to be pretty easy to pick up. And if they're just mini games where it's like, well, you might play this once or twice and then never again, they don't need a ton of depth. And I think it's a cool idea. It kind of reminds me in general of how board games work. like any sort of strategy board game. If you play with friends for the first time, it's like, oh, you're all kind of figuring out. Maybe there's some luck factor for the very first time you play because you don't know what strategies are even there. So you're just picking stuff based on the local knowledge you have. Then the second time you play or the third time you play, now you know a lot more than new players would. So now you can make even better decisions. And then at some point it becomes like, well, how much do I want to invest in getting better at these games? And I think it's kind of like that with the Mario Party sorts of games. It's like if you know every mini game and you know the strategy right off the bat, there's less for you to keep in your mind than other people. Okay, well, I think this went pretty well. And I'm glad I started tackling something that's up there on the list. So yeah, I have a lot to do. That took so long. So worked on bone mode challenges. It'll be the last stream for an indefinite amount of time. So yeah, I want to wrap up for anyone who's here and did not hear me talk about this stuff. It's in the today command, and it's in the... What's going on right now? Huh, weird. My mouse broken. Yeah, I fixed it. Okay, it's in the today command, and it's in the title, but I'm not going to be streaming again for some amount of time. I don't know what that amount of time is. I want to focus on a couple things. Marketing and any other like off-stream development that's too hard to do, or I'd have to like have privacy mode on the whole time. So something like, I need to work on these Steam achievements. You're not supposed to show the UI to other people, apparently, at least based on a note on the bottom of the page. So like, I just need to change some art, change some text. If this were in my own code base right here on the screen, I'd be like, yeah, I should just do this on stream, but I can't do it on stream. So like these things don't lend themselves well to doing it on stream. And also I need some momentum for some other tasks that I have. Like I wanted to make some YouTube videos for a while now. And some of this could potentially benefit from me doing at least the script writing on stream. But then I've got to record the video. And like, I don't do that while I'm streaming. I know some streamers find a way to do that. I've never done that. I don't plan on doing that. I'd like to just spend 2 hours trying to improve my material and then record it. So yeah, I want to shift focuses for a little bit. It is January 12th and launch is March 17th. So even if I spend all of this week and all of next week, we still have a decent amount of time before launch. So I should be back to streaming before we launch. If somehow well, there's pretty much no chance of me not coming back. I'll be back here and there, I think. But then after launch, I don't know what's happening. I don't have a bunch of plans for Skeleseller. I don't know how well it's going to do. If it does really well, we'll probably support it. I'll probably keep developing on stream. But if we decide to move on, I'll probably take a bit of a break and then we'll start a new game on stream at some point. No, just launching directly into the game. Thanks to the stuff. Yeah. Only because of how horrible it is to use. Hey, Josh. Okay. Yeah, so that's it for me. I will leave you with someone else. And I do recommend joining Discord. It's a good way of finding out when I'll be live, at least. The Adam Learns Discord. I don't necessarily suggest joining the Skeleseller one unless you want to actually play the game. So let's see who we're raiding. Let's raid Cavino. Thanks for all the shoes. Yeah, thank you all for watching. Thanks for being here. Like I said, this isn't the end. It's not like, oh, I'm quitting streaming for good. I just need to do some other stuff. Take care. Goodbye, everybody.